Ready, Phil?
3, 2, 1, roll. That's right. It's another fun-filled adventure of the Cleveland Moto Podcast, coming to you live in audio and terrible video. And it looks like we've all got our cocktails, our libations, whatever those bations might be, whatever bations you rely on, or pharmaceuticals, or other adaptive chemicals that we use to make ourselves more interesting and loquacious. This is today. We'd like to inform our listeners that Cleveland was struck by a fucking monsoon today. I believe outside of Nick's house, I saw a giant rubber duck with about 8 people on it. Yeah. How you doing over there, Nick?
It's wet.
Jesus Christ, man. Did you activate all the bilge pumps?
They're working normally. No sump pump issues yet, but when there is, I will be freaking out.
Do you have an alarm or anything on that?
No.
Okay.
I don't.
Just freeballing it.
Yep.
Yeah, we have a sump pump in the basement too, but 3/4 of our basement walls have been hit with the B-dry system. That really does work well. The one wall that we have not yet done has officially fucked us. And so now we get a lot of water in, and I'm certain we'll be getting some, but we've got sandbags set up in the basement to sort of divert it all down into the floor drain.
We had our house was Ohio State waterproof before we bought it. Some, now going on 20 some years ago, and it's the original sump pump.
Yeah.
But I never have a problem knowing when it's running or not, because when it kicks on, you hear it going grrr.
Does it kick out in your backyard?
Hook up a secondary pump, but I haven't got to that.
Does it kick out in your backyard?
No. All of our drains go into the regular drain. So that was a problem that I had when our regular plumbing blocked up and the sump pump would kick on. It was coming into the basement. And I'm like, what the fuck? I thought it went into a rainwater system. Right. But in my house, all the downspouts, everything is tied into the main sewer line and goes into the sewage system.
You better not tell anybody that, because they'll make you separate them.
Yeah, they will.
You're not the sewage police, are you?
No, I'm warning you. They'll come in and make you separate it, and it's like $5,000 to $10,000 to do that.
They did our whole street. They made our whole street do that. So
yeah, well, I mean, probably what I would end up doing is just blocking off my downspouts and running them out into the yard. That's also acceptable. You have to pour concrete down a fucking hole. But I'd put a can or something down there so I can block it out.
My sump pump goes out into the backyard. It's pretty funny. It shoots out into the backyard about 70 feet or so. And then it's designed to basically come up in the flower beds, right? And I just thought it'd be hilarious to take that little 2-inch PVC pipe and put a 90 on it and put some kind of a bird fountain or something back there, so that when our sump pump kicks on, we can have a little majesty in the backyard.
I had an issue with my sump pump this past winter where mine also exits through the backyard through like a 2-inch PVC pipe.
Yeah.
But it was the pipe was dipping down a little bit, and so water was collecting and freezing.
Oh, shit.
And when I found out about that, I would pour hot water over the outside of the pipe, and then eventually this just 2-foot long plug of ice shot out that pipe all the way across my yard.
Never underestimate the power of fluid pressure. Hydraulics. Yay. Interesting question for Cleveland natives. As you're driving down Interstate 480, on the south side, you'll see Mally's Chocolates. Okay. And Mally's Chocolates has 3 towers. One what says milk, one what says sugar, and one what says syrup.
One is milk product, corn syrup, and the other is fucking who knows.
So here's a question for all of our people. Who would like to guess how much of each product is in each one of those tall, 40-foot or 50-foot tall towers? Anyone?
0.
I'd say 0 milk.
Yeah.
A lot of sugar. Maybe a very little chocolate, because they should have one that says wax.
Well, as it turns out, you guys are smarter than the average Clevelander by a good degree. So it turns out that Clevelanders, by and large, over 98% of Clevelanders, when asked, did believe that those tall vessels did contain milk, sugar, and cocoa, as the founder of Mally's, Adele, would like to have you believe. But in fact, they are all fucking empty. And it's just, the idea is to give you the idea that it's wholesome and therefore it contains just milk, sugar, and cocoa. It is recycling of very, very large, very, very tall, like 60-foot tall tanks. And that's what it is. And those are completely empty. There is nothing in any of them. They are just bolted to concrete pads.
Were they the vestige of a previous business that was there, or they actually brought them in?
No, they
props.
They bought them wholesale and they brought them in as props. And they erected it so they could get vertical signage without paying for a permit to get a vertical signage billboard.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah. So there you go. There's absolutely nothing in those things. They're fucking empty.
If you had 3 tanks outside of your shop, what would they say?
It would be an M60A1. I'd have an M60 tank. I'd have an M1A1 tank, and I'd have a Russian T55 tank. Those are the 3 tanks I'd have out in front of my business.
I thought you'd have pineapple juice, black-strapped rum, and coconut cream.
Also fucking true. That is totally fucking true. And I would just have one valve.
Hey, and how about a shout out to Stefan being mentioned on the national and local news about refusing to open up until, what do you say, August or September?
Until August, yeah.
The 3 bars, the Spotted Owl, Porco, and Velvet Tango Room.
Yeah. So congratulations to him.
Yeah, and for the record, if you're ever in Cleveland, those are 3 bars you should absolutely support when they're open.
And bring your wallet.
Yeah, bring your fucking wallet.
That's awesome because, by staying closed like that, he's letting his employees go ahead and just collect unemployment and stuff, whereas if he or even had brought them back in a part-time capacity or something like that, it would really kind of fuck them up on that.
That's exactly it. It really is. It's anti-gaming the system. The system of opening too early is there's motivation involved with unemployment money and stuff like that. And you have to talk to your staff. You have to talk to your employees and say, do you feel safe coming back? If you don't feel safe coming back, then fucking don't come back, man.
Well, my wife's getting the brunt of that because her dental office opened May 1st. Wow. And her doctor went ahead and took the money, the payment, payroll protection loan and everything like that. As part of that, you have to bring back your employees, duh. So, she's now faced with, you need to come back. She hasn't been given a date yet because
John froze. So the state for the payroll protection plan. The payroll protection plan states that the employees have to be back in service by June 30th. So we are getting the payroll protection plan at our shop, and we have not laid anybody off. We're still at 100%. But if we had to, they would have to be back on the clock by June 30th. So there you go. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's a really, it's a weird, it's a very, very weird setup on whole. The whole thing is fucking bizarre. So yeah, it's a weird deal. So so kind of your motorcycle shops and stuff like that you patronize and stuff, if they're open, I would hope that they're doing their best to keep full staff there. I really do. But I know of many motorcycle shops right now that I'm talking to on a daily basis that are fucking suffering. And it's because, some of them are in Pennsylvania, some of them are in Michigan, where their law has stated that they are not an essential business and they are not allowed to be open doing what I do. So, as we are super fucking busy, a lot of people are super not fucking busy. And And our business is different. Our business is totally different than it used to be. We're selling some stuff and we're working on some bikes. There's a whole other segment that we're not even dealing with at the moment because our whole showroom is literally locked down except for appointments.
I was thinking a little bit about that. Like, things that are going to work well are drive-through, curbside, open air, and like what you can do to capitalize on that. Like, tomorrow morning, if it's beautiful weather out, half the bikes in the showroom should go outside. Mm-hmm. People could look at them, and it'd be a safer condition than bringing people all into the shop or whatnot. But
Phil, you must have been a game leader because Suzuki just announced that no longer do you have to shop for Suzukis. We'll bring them to you.
That's right. Yeah, and that is and delivery and pickup have been a super important part of what we do right now. And I'm running my ass off. I did 496 miles in the pickup truck on Monday doing pickups and deliveries just in the greater Cleveland area.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's insane.
That's a full day. Yeah, it's a full day. And I was on the road from 8 o'clock in the morning until about 10 o'clock at night, getting bikes to people and from people. And what we're doing on these is like, if you're getting a service done and you're getting like $300 worth of service, your pickup or your delivery is free. That's what we're doing to entice people to at least patronize us.
I wonder how the car vending machine over there on the east side is doing right now.
It's nice. It's no touch, John. You just go up, you swipe your credit card, and a Buick comes out.
I mean, you could probably build something and stack it full of buddies and.
If I would have done that 20 years ago, I'd be on a boat right now. A really big fucking boat.
A cruise ship. You'd still be stuck with the rest of the cruise people. Like,
yeah.
Sorry, you can't get off, dude.
I'd be on my own fucking boat. That's it.
Uh-oh.
But yeah.
Here's somebody's coming. Ballbuster McLovin.
Cameron?
No, I don't know who this is.
Maybe it's our special guest star.
Oh, it's Cameron. It's a Pinto.
Is it a Pinto?
It is a Pinto. Yeah, it's a Pinto. I see an orange Pinto with a moonroof and Goodyear half-inch white wall tires.
But
yeah,
they didn't turn their camera or video on yet.
That one has the down low gravel guard, so it's got the square headlights. Boy, that is everything bad you could have gotten a Pinto.
Right.
I like the orange though.
The orange is nice. The orange is nice.
Looks like the interior is either orange or saddle leather tan. I don't know.
No, I think that's orange, dude. I think that's an orange interior.
I don't know.
My buddy, hey! It's Uncle Liza. What's going on?
How y'all doing?
We're doing real good.
How are you?
Good.
Let me guess, it didn't rain for 9.5 hours straight in Santa Cruz?
No, but we did have rain once this month.
I like your name that nobody else can see because we're all sitting here and only Phil knew you were coming. So I'm like, who the hell's Ballbuster McLovin?
It all makes sense now.
Yeah. So how are you, Liza?
Good. About time you let me on one of these things.
We were stealing all the members of your podcast. I was literally last week I was thinking about stealing Henry. And I was just, and we had real topics and shit to do last week. So it worked out. One of the craziest things, and I mean, this is the era that we're in. I mean, this is the game. Okay, how many guys went and rode their motorcycles for our group last week? Raise your hands. That's the best way. Did anybody else go out for a group ride last week?
Somebody was with us. I think. Wait, no. Oh, Smith, right? Yeah.
Maybe it was the romantic Hispanic.
That was 2 weeks ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I knew something.
Did anybody go out ride last week?
Yeah, I did.
You did? Okay. Yeah. I've been riding shit all week long in horrible fucking weather. It's been cold, rainy, and shitty. It's just suck weather. But we've got so many bikes in the service department, like 30, 40 bikes in the service department. And the only way to get them out is for me to test ride them and give them a pass, or send them back in the service department for more work. And so I've had to do a lot of weird fucking riding and a lot of weird fucking bikes too. BMW K1200 LT, 1999. I do not like that bike.
That's like, isn't that like their touring bike, like the 2-up kind of thing with bags?
It's like an 860-pound German Goldwing.
Yeah.
Right, but except the center of gravity is way higher.
The center of gravity is way higher, and your handlebars are 4 feet back from the steering point.
It's more like a tiller.
It is more like a tiller. Because of the telelever suspension and 61,000 miles and a 20-year-old bike. Maybe it might be a 2001. This bike is awful. I mean, it's just not a good motorcycle. And if it was a good motorcycle, it was a good motorcycle 18 years ago. And it's had 18 years to forget how to be a good motorcycle. If you have a chance to buy one of these and both the ABS lights aren't flashing all the time, don't buy it. You should not buy that bike. BMWs should never be that old unless they're like an R75.
Right.
Liza, when you were stirring your food there and I saw your head kind of shaking like this, I was afraid to ask you what you were doing. Okay, that explains it.
Eating quiet food.
I don't know.
No chips.
Yeah. No, I had the K75 RT.
Yeah.
Loved that.
Right. Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah. And that being said, it was one of the greatest bikes in the world that today is worth $2,100.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, for anybody that may be listening to this podcast and doesn't know who Liza is, who is Liza?
Hey, everyone. It's Liza.
And to my left, we have Liza.
and you are from?
Motorcycles and Misfits podcast in sunny Santa Cruz, California, just to prove it. Yep, it's sunny out there. Yeah. Yeah, I know. That's called the sun, guys.
You didn't have to do that.
I'm burning.
Phil's already got some.
Phil's got sniffles on already. Jeez, oh man. It took 1 second.
Oh yeah. I would take my pants down, but we'd be demonetized. There's
Actually, true story. 2 shows ago, which I recorded Zoom, Jim had no pants on the entire time.
I know.
The entire time.
Surprising. That's not surprising.
How was his microphone?
we know he was naked, but how did he sound?
Wouldn't you be surprised if the Patreon jumped by 20 grand because people felt sorry? Maybe you should take your pants off.
Oh my God, that's true.
Well, the funny thing is he did it for a bit that I ended up cutting out of the show because we ran out of time. So he stood there with no pants on in his backyard for 2 hours waiting for the bit.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Well, let's hear the bit now.
Oh, we were going to do a thing on cool tools. And he had a tool ready to go.
I can imagine.
So you can say that you're a bit of a bit tease.
Exactly.
The picture from AMA Vintage Days where Naked Jim tackled me after we'd been chromed. It's been edited, so that picture's out on the internet. But I have cropped the living dick out of it, and it was
so to speak.
Yeah, it was one of those pictures because in its native format, it is exceptionally Camaro, and it's one of those things that would keep both of us out of office forever.
That's okay. I'd still vote for you.
Yeah, and it's not just the fact that his fucking mushroom cap is in it. It's that the look of overwhelming joy on our faces is just like, we're both totally okay with this. And
unambiguously gay duo.
Exactly. It's okay. It's going to get weird, but we like that.
Only made weird by the silver spray paint on your face. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hey, so
that was the only thing out of place.
Now, Liza recently has become the caretaker of several of the Evel Knievel stunt cycles.
Yes.
And if you haven't had a chance, if you can go back in time to 1974 or so, 75, you have this thing that you just grind up and when you stop grinding it, Evel Knievel would fuck off across your living room on a little Harley Davidson motorcycle. And it was fucking cool. And it was nearly indestructible. And motherfucker, it was as tough as Evel Knievel. And we made one jump a buddy scooter. So we have video of an Evel Knievel stunt cycle totally fucking clearing a buddy scooter. But what happened is at my shop, anytime somebody gets a new toy, they have to fucking do some like performance mods to it. So prepare yourself for very big things coming out of Cleveland Moto with the Evel Knievel stunt cycle.
Oh, game on, son. Game on. Did you see the video that we did?
Yes, I did.
Where he jumped a fire pit and a mini bike into a pool of flames. Yeah.
I'm very unhappy that our landing for Evel Knievel did not go so well because he cleared the entire buddy scooter, not the low part, not the floorboards, the fucking handlebars. And he cleared it beautifully, but the landing was right into our air compressor. And yeah, that's why one of his exhaust tips is totally broken off now. Yeah. All the sacrificial parts are falling off.
The funny thing is, you know how they say, like, if you haven't ridden a bike in a long time, it's something you know how to do and you can get back on.
Yeah.
Grinding that Evel Knievel toy and knowing how not to get the slippage and how not to scrape your knuckles and how to align it, like, it all came back to me from when I was like 7 years old. It was just immediate. It was so awesome.
If you don't have one of these, this is a bald-faced fucking shill for the California toy company that pulled this shit off. It is truly joy in a box this big. It is heaven. When you open it, when it arrived at my shop last week, I couldn't resist. I got the fucker out. It takes 5 seconds to assemble because it's literally click and then assemble Evel Knievel with his poorly shaped helmet, put it on his fucking skull and crank the shit out of it. And aside from the rear tire's rubber being a bit too hard, like the rubber compound, if I remember mine as a kid, the rubber compound was really grippy. Like you could dig your thumbnail into it. This thing spends most of its life just fucking not hooking up. So it's like gyroscopic motion and like 1% traction.
What a sticky Mickey on it.
So you've just been cranking the shit out of it ever since you got it, huh?
Yeah.
I'm guessing you got one forearm is bigger than the other now?
Giggity, giggity. Yeah.
That's it.
Do you think there's a market for aftermarket parts?
I think there's a market for using giant drones that are no longer flying and they're brushless motors to make it so that we can put a 4.6 volt 6S battery to drive that rear wheel and make the thing go about 194 miles an hour.
When it takes off at 4,000 scale miles per hour.
It's like a zero.
Yeah, exactly. It's so fucking fun. It's dopey fun. Yeah. It's absolutely silly. So today I reached out to the folks at AMA regarding Mid-Ohio. So I know that Mid-Ohio is something we all care about. If nobody has gone to the AMA Vintage Days or the Mid-Ohio Facebook page, you should. It's degraded into a range war of... We're going to have Mid-Ohio, whether or not you want to. And if you don't like it, you can stay home with all the other scared people. But we're going to be there having a good time. And we didn't want any party poopers here anyway. So it's gotten that bad that people are literally using Mid-Ohio as a political statement.
Oh, no.
This is hard for me, Phil, because, I mean, I think you may feel the same way. If you could only go to one event all year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
This is it.
Totally.
This is it.
Mid-Ohio is the shit. I mean...
Exactly.
I had this conversation with Bruce today about it. He's like, they're still having Mid-Ohio. Are you going? And I'm like, no. And then, then I was like, well, maybe. I don't know. I'll decide that weekend, Fuck it.
Yeah.
I mean, could you do it? Probably. I mean, somehow you could be real careful and you might be able to do it. It's, he's saying it's open air. I'm like, yeah, but, I don't know.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think like last year when Phil had the camper up at the top of the hill, besides like almost hugging each other every night, if we just kind of distanced, I didn't touch or get near anybody really. You're riding your bike, you're riding around, you're just watching stuff like, maybe avoid the mud pits in the feces area down in the party section and not
We identified the swap meet as very difficult to navigate without, you're within breath distance of a lot of people.
That's true.
That's true. Yeah, that's absolutely true.
But you can wear a mask. You can wear a mask, but nobody else.
Nobody else is going to wear a mask. Yeah.
Well, and think about just like condiments for like your food. Like you're going to get some fries. Don't touch the ketchup.
We already agreed. We wouldn't go get breakfast sandwiches. We wouldn't go to any of the fucking stands.
Then what's the
pretty much hang. I mean, I could probably just fucking hang out at my campsite and sit there and fucking drink beers all by myself and just watch the fucking world go by and be pretty happy.
That's true.
I think next year is going to be really good because you'll be able to buy half these bikes from the estate sales.
Yep. So if you guys want to take a look real quick, this is coming up. You guys will be able to look at. So, Jim's a fantastic guy. Jim Witters, absolutely amazing human being. He's the managing editor at American Motorcyclists Association. I mean, he's the real deal. And, Jim's always been a fantastically straight shooter. And this is the kind of thing that there's a lot of confusion right now because the registration for AMA Vintage Motorcycle Days is open. All right. So the registration is absolutely open. And there is going to be, right now, as it stands, they are saying that there will be competition at that, at that venue. And so they are there and they are literally, they're taking, they're taking money, they're taking registration for the event. And, there's going to be WERA events happening there. There's going to be the racing classes and all that's there. But the one thing that I know that everybody is really, really worried about and is really concerned about is the swap meet, right?
There was a line in there about the COVID restrictions.
Yes.
I didn't get to read that, but.
Yeah, and I did. And what it says, and what I think this is this is somebody being very careful and saying that they will abide by whatever decision is made by the governor of the state of Ohio regarding group gatherings at the time of the event.
Yeah. Well, what has he got to lose, really? This is his business. He's trying to sell tickets, collect the money, see how it plays out. It's better to have it on the books and then cancel it at the last minute and then tell people you don't have any way to refund their money other than saying, hey, we're just canceled right now. So he's got really nothing to lose.
Yeah, so, Bruce was like, well, I already paid for my campsite, so I'll be paid for next year. I'm like, I'm not sure it's going to work that way, bro.
I don't think so.
Think about this too. AMA, they have deposits down themselves. What's their deposit down for Mid-Ohio?
Right. What did they pay to rent the course?
And for all the tents and everything that they use. So they've got money down. They are not going to get a refund unless the state or the governor says you can't do it. Right. So they will not be eligible, which may be why they're going forward because they're in the hole.
Right.
And where it's really the rubber's gonna meet the road is if people either do show up and they can make their nut, or people don't show up and they're left holding the bag.
It's true. It's a very tough time right now, and one of the things. Recently, I always get tickets for Punk Rock Bowling. It's a major event. It happens in Vegas, and it happens, at this time of the year. And what they had done that I thought was a very interesting thing is they had initially said that the event was postponed until October. Raise your hand if you've heard about any events being postponed until October. I mean, October is officially the month that everyone is saying, because it's so far out in the future that we don't really need to fucking deal with it right now. And we can say that it's being postponed until then. But we're getting closer and closer to October right now. And October still only has 31 days in it. And a lot of them are Halloween related. So it's a tough thing to say your events are all going to happen in the month of October when they're all stepping on each other.
Well, on the bright side, Georgia opened like May 1st, whatever. And they said that their cases, even though they've tested more, their cases have been dropping precipitously. So they're actually, the more people are getting out and the more people are outside and whatever, it appears that is helping lower the new cases of this COVID-19.
I'll say this, that Mrs. Smith has delayed all events until October also.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's legit. So in your own particular household, that's going to happen as well.
Yeah. And she says there's only 2 days in October as far as she's concerned.
That is.
Yeah. Well, that's Mrs. Smith. What are you going to
do? 2 days in October.
You better be mowing that grass.
Yeah.
Well, but here's the weird thing. Here's the weird thing, because in this case, Punk Rock Bowling has said that the postponement to October has now been postponed till May of 2021. Now, you can't call that a postponement. It's a fucking cancellation, because you have an annual event, and you're giving up on the 2020. You got to call it a fucking cancellation and give people their money back.
They must have good attorneys,
right? So.
Well, and I might be a little bit choppy because I had to go over to my Wi-Fi hotspot on my phone, but if that would imply, though, that since it's a postponement and you've prepaid, that you're already paid for the May event, you know.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and it's a really, really bad scene right now. So with AMA Vintage Days, here's the weird thing is, you know, how many years in a row, 19 years in a row, I've gotten a booth at this event. Right. So there hasn't been a time when I didn't get some sort of real estate in the swap meet. And I certainly haven't paid. I certainly didn't book my spot in the swap meet. And some people were actually offering their spots up for sale. I saw that. And it was at a significant discount. So there were a lot of people that were offering their spots up. Here's my question. I think you guys, and this is a giant gold-plated if it were to happen, if it were to go on, do you think that you could protect yourself? Do you think that you could do a Mid-Ohio and do it safely?
So, as I said earlier, I don't want to attend an event with people who are willing to attend an event.
Very, very nicely said. Very nicely said. That's good.
It is. It's actually brilliant.
Well, plus from your perspective, you would have to fly there, and you wouldn't want to be on a fucking airplane, would you?
I think at least the airlines are willing to make an effort to try. I'm not sure that every person at Vintage Days is willing to make that effort. Yeah. It is heartbreaking for me, but I think that it's irresponsible to hold an event unless you have the plan in place to be able to provide a safe environment. And you talk about that. What's needed? I mean, just for me to open up the recycle garage that we just opened up, and I said, hey, look, you got to bring your own mask. You got to bring your own gloves. They're required. And then people show up and they're like, hey, I got my mask. I got my gloves. I'm ready to go. Where's your antibacterial hand soap? I need to wash up. I'm like, what? Huh? I'm supposed to supply that for everyone.
Right.
And it's like, I realized even just simple things like that. Like, am I supposed to be cleaning the bathroom between people? Yep. And, they're like, oh, we'll clean the bathroom. Just give me all of your wipes. Your what? Like, I can't find these things.
Is there really a difference between antibacterial soap and soap? I mean, most of the guidance has been wash your hands with soap. It hasn't said that you have to have antibacterial, and isn't soap in and of itself antibacterial? I don't know.
Well, most soap now isn't. The federal government's banned antibacterial soap because it had triclosan in it and it was getting into the environment. So they said that there wasn't a good efficacy with using antibacterial soap, so they removed it from soap itself. I mean, maybe the dishwashing liquid and stuff you could still buy with some type of antibacterial, but like a Dial, try to find Dial that's got antibacterial used to be their thing, right?
Yep.
John, I think it's like wearing a bandana instead of an N95 mask. It's better than nothing.
Okay.
Yeah. Here's an interesting thing. When you do consider Mid-Ohio, and Mid-Ohio veterans will tell you that after your first 4 or 5 hours there, you've got a nice crust of dirt there to protect you. And if you're in the campsite, you've got a nice crust of mostly horse feces or pig shit to protect you as well. And realistically, your body's working so hard to kill the virus and the pig shit that COVID doesn't stand a chance. It's got to wait in a line to get to your lungs. So it's a very weird thing when you think about the Mid-Ohio mindset. We, as a business who has a door that's locked, and we have boxes of surgical masks that we give to people for free at our own expense when they appear to be a vetted enough customer to come in and spend money, we still get tricked a few times. And we give them the supplies. We have the hand sanitizer there. I watch where people go in my shop like a fucking hawk. And then when they're gone, I wipe down everything they might have touched or breathed on wrong. And I do that for every single fucking customer. It's a giant pain in my ass. And because it's a giant pain in my ass, I'm very selective about who the fuck I let in my store. So that being said, at Mid-Ohio, when we're standing around 6 feet away from each other, having cocktails, burning some meat, and somebody walks up who just doesn't give a fuck, and I hate to say, it's usually old white men at my store, and it's old white men at my store that show up and go get 2 inches away from you and are like, hey, I got a fucking, and next thing you know, you can see diseases coming out of their mouth from the 40s. You got polio. COVID's the least of your fucking problems.
I used to have one of those.
But mine was red.
Let's face it, they can't even suck out the shitters on a regular basis. So I'm not envisioning them having these nice fucking hand sanitizer, fucking wash yourself up sanitization stations any fucking where.
You're exactly right. And that's not AMA's problem. AMA pays the Mid-Ohio race car course. So Mid-Ohio is not AMA, Vintage Days. So AMA pays to be there. And when those bathrooms, which are 19th level of Dante's hell, disgusting, I mean, they are just ridiculous by Saturday evening. Why can't they clean those out and keep them in a humanitarian, at least an come on, it was a volcano. The poo was coming over the top of the toilet seat by about a good 1.5 feet. It's not even comical how bad that shit is.
I had to shit like my cat in a litter box, just hover over it.
Well, for example, when you talk about your camping, state parks and private campgrounds are opening up, but only to fully self-contained campers because the bathrooms and everything else and facilities are all shut down because those are communal places.
Right.
So I can tell you for me,
the
reason I love going to AMA Vintage Days, besides hanging out with you wonderful folks, is all the rest of the wonderful people. I love meeting people and talking to people, handing people a beer, trying out their bike, looking at their stuff in their booth, just making friends and conversations. This is not conducive to that. This is I know I'm wearing a pool noodle hat and I look weird, but really I'm nice, Right.
Yeah.
That kind of destroys the whole magic for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's not going to be anything like it. It's not going to be anything like it ever was. It's going to be, there's going to be a group of people that are going to be so afraid of everybody else that they're going to go because they want to go. Then there's going to be the people, like you said, the ones that are doing it just to show the government that they're getting out and doing it.
Right.
And those are the guys that I don't like because really you wear a mask to protect you. I wear a mask to protect the person in front of me. I'm not wearing a mask to protect me. I'm wearing it to protect you. Yeah. And if they don't care about me, then I don't know. I have a problem with that. Like you go out now, you wear a mask. They look at you like you have a third freaking eye.
It's a weird thing because there's a certain amount of divisiveness. There's a certain amount of strange analog behavior here. People who are wearing masks are being perceived as being blue and Democrat and liberal, and people who are not wearing masks are being perceived as being red and MAGA and conservative Republican. It's a very strange thing. Our country is very much to party, left or right. There's no middle anymore to get lost in. And that's unfortunate that we're even having a reaction like when I see somebody not wearing a mask in Mark's, a shopping center that's a shopping store, grocery store that's pretty crowded, and I see somebody roaming around with no mask on or with a mask and it's pulled down, under their fucking mouth because it's uncomfortable. I now, my gut instinct, I'm noticing a feeling of like, fuck you, like, how about we all just fucking try to work this shit out? So even I'm starting to get some very much like, fuck you, let's play along kind of shit.
Yeah. Well, that was like when I went, I'm sorry, go ahead, Liza.
No, go ahead and finish.
Well, I went to Menards to buy that wood splitter. And there's security at the front door saying that everybody has to have a mask on and everything, and everybody wears a mask in.
Yeah.
And then you get in the store, and here's Joe Schmo walking around talking on his phone with his mask hanging off, and these guys got through the door with their mask on. Now they fucking pull them down when they're walking around the store,
So I was going to say, Phil, we talk about what an amazing, great event this is. They put on a fun event, but can we talk about why this event is put on?
So the biggest deal with AMA Vintage Days is it's a collection of sanctioned American Motorcyclist Association races. And then at some point, this is kind of crazy, but at some point, the collection of all these different endeavors, right? We've got motocross, we've got trials riding, we've got hare scrambles, there's a vintage motorcycle class, and we're racing on the racetrack. I know that we usually sell it as being a swap meet and a drinking festival, but believe it or not, it's actually there to have many different AMA events for championship points going on in many different disciplines at the same time. And the cost of admission generates a huge revenue to help pay for the services that the American Motorcyclist Association provide. I assume I'm making that statement only as an enthusiast having nothing to do with the AMA.
And I feel guilty kind of dumping on them and saying that it's irresponsible to hold an event because there's a reason that they do it, as opposed to, I thought Daytona was very irresponsible. And if they still go through with Sturgis as is planned, I think that's very irresponsible too. They're money-making ventures for people. Yeah. It's not funding an organization that helps us and serves us.
Right.
So I'm conflicted. I am.
I think if they tried to cancel Sturgis, though, you'd have like the Michigan thing of guys showing up in all their wannabe cop gear with all their devices and stuff, being like, "No, we're going to make this happen." You know what I mean? Like,
you know what? For how many years people went to Daytona, and despite the fact that it created a rash of chlamydia and a chlamydia of rashes that has never been seen ever again, that we knew, all of us that attended Daytona for ages, we knew that Daytona was nothing more than, I talked to people didn't even know there was any racing happening at Daytona. They had no idea. They thought it was literally just a fucking biker rally that had they didn't know the history of it. They didn't know the racing behind it. They had no fucking idea. They just went there to get shit-faced and ride their bikes on the beach back when you could ride your bike on the beach. And Sturgis is the same thing. It's like, okay, it's Boot Hill, or, it's basically a event to show off and drink, and maybe we'll see a tit if we're lucky. And that's the motivator behind most people going to Sturgis. I don't see that AMA works that way. There's competition at AMA, at Vintage Days. There's also a massive, largest swap meet in America. And it is a huge revenue source for this organization that actually does protect you as a rider, and does offer a lot.
You can't miss the competition. It is literally all around you. The motor, you're there. You're camping in the middle of it. The motocross course is here. You have the trials riding. There's the track. You can't miss it. You are in it.
Yeah. My favorite is the 9 and under two-stroke races at 7 a.m.
I was going to say,
in the campground.
Try to sleep until 8 a.m. at AMA Vintage Days. Try it. Just do your best. Put in your fucking earplugs and go to sleep under my bus and try to sleep until 8 a.m. You can't do it.
Imagine the crowd of people that's going to be at the barrel races should they be happening. You know what I mean? Like, think about that, where it could be about 500 people all gathered around this little stupid, bunch of people being stupid.
Right.
But everybody's shoulder to shoulder and packed in and trying to see what's going on.
Well, not just that, to be able to host an event like this for the vendors that are going to pay to be there and show up, what kind of attendance do you think they might get if they still have it? Half, third, quarter?
I say half.
10%?
Yeah.
So are the vendors who are paying to be there going to get their money's worth?
Right.
No.
Whether you're selling hot dogs or clutch plates, you're not going to have shit compared to what you normally would.
No, but knowing that there's going to be a smaller crowd, as a person looking for parts, would it be smart to go down one day with a mask on and goggles and gloves and hit the swap shop and find shit that nobody else is sucking up like they usually are?
Probably not.
I have a feeling that that's going to be halved in two. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think there's going to. We already said that people are selling off their swap meet spaces, so I think everything's going to be half. So you're not going to. There'll be half as many bikes. There'll be half as many participants. It'll be just a smaller event all around.
You go without Cameron there to buy the ugliest cruiser I've ever seen. No competition there, so you got a point.
It is totally true.
I have seen on Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist and stuff, a lot of bikes that were probably being saved for Mid-Ohio are going up for auction or for sale now.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen a lot of like CT70s and CT90s and CB everything starting to show up now on the thing because people are realizing, well, I'm not going to have my payday. You know what I mean?
And that's true.
Two-wheeler I was hopefully going to sell, and now it's taking up half my garage doing nothing. And, Mid-Ohio's not happening. That's right.
It is. It's one of those things that, I'm just going to throw a picture up of, this is my spirit of Mid-Ohio. This is exactly what Mid-Ohio is. It's making a really bad decision with a milk crate, half a snowboard, some tie-down straps, and cigarettes. And that's like, that was it. Like, to me, that, like, those silly things like that, it's not a ramp and all kinds of other horse shit.
Oh, I got that. Hold on.
Yeah. I mean, that stuff that was Mid-Ohio for me. So, and I don't think I want to try to do that until I have a better idea of what we're up against. The last thing I want to do is end up getting something that's going to goddamn near kill me. Liza, I can barely see that. Closer. Oh, there she is. Exactly. Right.
I have the same photo. Pulling knock.
Right, for knock. Exactly. Yeah. And like, it's that kind of silly horse shit that's amazing and it's magical. But
where's the flaming burnout video? I want to see that one.
Oh God. Yeah, that's out there. That's on YouTube. I think if you just type in, I don't even know what to type in on that one. That's just, yeah.
That took teamwork. That really took teamwork.
Mid-Ohio flaming burnout. That's it. And you know what? Yeah, I still think it was a great idea, and I will always be happy to go back and do more flaming burnouts with the Leuven Moto guys.
I'm not sure that Zach thought it was a great idea as he was sitting behind it on the milk crate in the sombrero topless, getting pelted by burning rubber.
Burning rocks. I still think it was beautifully executed, and that's exactly how fucked up I was.
So I wanted to bring up, though, like I said, I feel guilty like coming down on them because there is a reason that they do this. I wanted to pose a question to the group. Is there an alternative? Instead of us just bitching about, hey, you shouldn't do it, does anyone have any ideas of how they can, an alternative, the way that they can raise money?
Yeah, I do. Actually, I was thinking about this, Liza, after we spoke about it earlier. I think what we should do is a 30,000 participant Zoom call.
Oh.
And we'll have 30,000 people hold up the part that they have for sale.
There we go. Wait a minute.
Yeah, there we go. That's it. Yeah, I mean, okay.
This is happening.
Oh, wait, we have video.
Not
Can
a ramp.
you roll that again,
I
please?
remember that. Not a ramp.
That was way too shaky. You got to roll that again.
Oh, he's staging. He's at full throttle. This is happening.
Is this when he had the beer on his head? No. There we go.
Oh, Captain, my Captain. Yeah. That is
Power of the Evil Knievel suit, right?
Does he know that you have that video?
I don't know.
I actually sent it to Andrew at one point. So
okay,
he has that.
Right. That's a pretty good video. Yeah. So I mean, that's the kind of stuff, and I do see like there should be something that could offset the event. I mean,
I have an idea.
Yeah, go ahead.
30,000 people showing their parts. That was funny, but it gave me an idea. How many people do you think would pay to see Emma's tits?
I saw them for free.
I'll throw in a couple bucks just for scientific purposes. I mean, what the hell?
Like I said, she's got the tits of an 18-year-old girl, and someday that girl's going to come looking for those tits.
So I mean, I had one idea because I feel like they're missing the ball right now. Like, I don't know if they just don't know what to do, what the alternative is. The alternative seems to be we're going to postpone to October, which is really another way of saying we need some time to figure this shit out.
Yeah, it is.
Right? Though, like, one idea that I had was, what if all of us podcasters, and we get all the other podcasters in on it, and the month of July we do a drive for AMA membership.
I agree. And there's a ton of us. There is a ridiculous number of podcasters. Since COVID hit and all these guys are hiding in their mom's basement, 9,300 motorcycle podcasts have been born. There are 6 good ones.
Hey, I'm just
you
curious.
don't count us.
Of the 6 of you, how many are AMA members? Is there anyone who is not a member of the AMA?
I have been.
Oh, Phil, what's up with your people, man? Right there. There's your fundraiser.
Look, our fucking people are so fucking rebel. They're so punk rock. They won't belong to your fucking silly AMA organization. They don't want free towing. I got a nipple on Chris Smith.
You see that? That's my fucking tight ass. I'm legendary fucking cheap.
You know what? People in Cleveland don't need somebody to come and pick them up for a fucking tow. They'll fucking walk their bike home 6 miles to Akron.
In the rain.
Even though like most of his buddies said, "Hey, I have a trailer. Do you need me to go get it?" No, I'm fine. It's good.
Yeah, raise your hand. Raise your hand if you walked a Honda Superhawk like an incontinent dog.
All right, I'll just put it out there. All right, I'll be obnoxious. If you show me some tits, I'll join the AMA. I didn't say they had to be yours.
It's that kind of podcast. All right.
I got a calendar that
I'm
you guys
prepared
are
for
super
this.
interested in.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Well, there's a boob.
There you go.
I guess you're joining there.
You know, there's a thing called screen share.
I took that photo yesterday. Just so you know.
I need proof.
Wait, are those moths coming out of your wallet?
Damn it. Damn it.
No, so honestly, I mean, if people join the AMA, which I think any responsible biker should, flat out. Unless you there are some people who don't agree politically with the actions that AMA is taking, and that's fine.
No.
If you don't agree with it, okay, you don't have to support it. But other than that, I mean, I think any responsible biker should be. It's like being in a union or something, right? Pay your dues.
I joined normal.
What's that?
I joined normal.
You know what? And you ride a motorcycle way more than you're stoned. So,
like I said, Eliza, I have joined the AMA. It's just not every year I actually pay my dues.
Do you know what's funny is I usually renew my membership when I buy my booth for the AMA Vintage Days because I get a discount when I buy my booth for being an AMA member. So that is an interesting thing because not only just paying the gate fee to get into Mid-Ohio, create income for AMA, but because I want a discount on my booth space, I pay my membership in full, so I can save basically the price of my membership against buying my booth space. So there's that.
But let's look at the reach of all of the podcasters. If we all, like I said, month of July, let's say, hey, do the right thing, join the AMA. Right. They could get a few thousand,
hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, hundreds of dollars.
2,000 memberships.
I will say this: podcasters, people who do love motorcycles, and people who support the idea. With our Patreon, I am always amazed at the number of people who will give us $10 a month to no shit. Listen to this. Yeah. And to get like some sort of access so they can like send us we're going to read one of the text messages here shortly from one of our podcast listeners. And so people that literally do decide to give us some support to keep this bullshit running and to let us pay for stuff that we need to do to keep it going. And it always shocks me that people will do that and step up and be a part of it. But it is that kind of a thing that getting a membership to the AMA, I think it would help if people understood that the AMA does keep a lot of off-highway access areas available to people who ride dirt bikes, and AMA does work really, really hard. It's not just if your bike breaks down getting a free fucking tow job once a year, that's not exactly why you do it. It's the baseline. It's the lowest common denominator. Why you would do it is because I ride jankety ass shit and I'd like to have my bike picked up for free. Or Nick could have had his bike picked up for free. Instead, he decided to walk because he's a young man and he's healthy. But yeah.
PSA. You want me to do the PSA?
Yeah.
For less than $5 a year or $5 a month, just $49 a year, you're set for more fun, more trips, more events. There you go.
I mean,
That is something that we could do. And here's why we should do it. We love AMA Vintage Days. So if it doesn't happen this year, they're going to lose money. They're going to be in the hole. What's their budget like for the event next year when it comes back? If they do have the event this year, they're going to go in the hole. They're not going to make their money back. Right. What's the budget like for next year? They're screwed either way.
That's true.
And if we want it to go back to how it is, we need to help them out. That's how I see it.
Yeah, well, the important thing about the AMA is the amount of they do a lot to try to affect legislation that affects motorcyclists. Yep. So that's really the real reason to pay your dues is, because it's going to make life easier as a motorcyclist and help prevent things like motorcycle only roadblocks and stuff like that. They fight back against a lot of that stuff.
Right. In a lot of communities where there's a signpost that says no motorcycles past this point. And I've been in communities like that. I've been in housing developments like that. Years ago, I attended an event at Laguna Seca. And here's this crazy, we're doing World Superbike at Laguna Seca, and we rented a house, and the house that we rented was in a complex that had a big sign that said no motorcycles past this point. And I was like, that's bullshit. Like, how do you get away with saying, okay, you can have any number of different cars going past this sign, but motorcycles are not allowed past this sign. And
I could drive a muscle car fucking dragster up around through the fucking thing with ridiculously loud pipes, but I can't ride a fucking mini bike.
I can't ride a Honda Cub through the fucking sign, past the sign. So, yeah.
So I'm curious if you guys have any other ideas.
I do. I was thinking that if we had a thing where if you could show that you had a new AMA membership, that you were part of the solution, that if you were at the following year's AMA Vintage Days or any AMA sanctioned event, you could hug Jim Witters or Serena Van Dyke just free. Just give her give Serena or Jim a hug, and they would have to just be like, give you a hug back, because that's that sort of bond, that sort of thing. I don't know if you guys saw it, but last year at AMA Vintage Days, the whole Leuven Moto corner, the corner that is Leuven Moto, I like to call them our neighbors. That's a fucking shit show. Okay? It's a shit show of the highest order. It's got disco music. It's got fancy lights. It's got a DJ. It's got a not a fire pit, a burnout pit. Who doesn't love
Can be
that?
a fire pit.
When I'm there, right? When we know how to bring the fire, but it's fun as fuck. And there was nobody there saying that you should shut it down. I saw cases of beer being hand delivered into that corner, and I saw the sheriffs and the people that were security standing by and appreciating the madness, but nobody was getting hurt, so there was no involvement. There was nobody putting their thumb on our fun.
Did they have a school bus?
Well, exactly. So we have a lot, right? Chris remembers. I mean, you were there when we showed up with a fucking school bus loaded for bear and
pulled right up to the front.
Yeah, fireworks and liquor and all kinds of bad ideas. And we pulled right up to the front of the event and turned the lights on, and it was party time. And the sheriffs stayed back and security stayed back. Like, they let us have our fun, and that doesn't happen too often. So we want to respect that.
There's no fights. There's no, it's a lot of people getting together and having fun,
having a good time.
But mostly people respect everybody. It's
of course.
Well, and I think it's also
a lot of venues.
The way they have it kind of divided too. Like, if you want to go ape shit and stay up till 4 a.m, you go down into the corner and you camp. Yeah. If you want to go and watch TV in your, air conditioned RV at 8:30, so you don't miss your stories, you park up high and kind of people don't go nuts up there. You know what I mean?
That's where we were last year.
Yeah, which was kind of nice because it gives you the option to go nuts and then kind of get away from it if you want. Compared to the years before in the tent, like, I'm just like, I see a headlight coming at me and it's 4 a.m. I just hope they see this tent. I'm a little nervous.
Where we were camped last year, I would like to clarify that where Serena helped us find a spot to camp last year was clearly in the upper echelon. I mean, that was the nice neighborhood of AMA Vintage Days.
Yeah.
Cameron wants to know where you go for the big dildo action.
I swear to God, Cameron didn't show up. I wish that Cameron...
For years.
For years.
Liza has permanently scarred...
Apparently, Ballbuster McLovin made an impression on his soul.
Watching Cameron and Liza interact with each other was a very dominant, submissive relationship.
You should be ashamed of yourself, young lady.
He tried to put up a fight. He put up some resistance. He did. But he thought he had free will. That was the only problem.
That just turned you on a little bit more, didn't it?
It's nice when you're a star like that, you can just grab him by the butthole.
You're lucky I didn't crawl under the bus with you, Eliza. I mean, wobbly pops and everything, and you never know.
It is. I mean, that is the essence of the madness of Mid-Ohio, and the madness of Mid-Ohio is beautiful. So yeah, I think Liza's onto something. I think that if we can. If something like Mid-Ohio is going to say, look, we're not going to have it because we ultimately respect you too much to infect you.
Yeah, to kill you.
Right. I respect you not to infect you. Right. And if there's that kind of a thing where people can have the confidence to call off an event, it takes balls to call off an event. It takes balls to say, look, we're acknowledging that this is fucked. And we're also acknowledging that this situation is not unfuckable. Right. But
unfuckable.
Exactly. Again,
double negative.
Yeah, this is the way my brain works, right? So it is kind of a weird thing. I feel like we could help a little bit. I mean, I'm willing to do absolutely the little amount of effort that it is to kind of help out a little bit because I am preemptively missing Mid-Ohio.
Will you give a $50 discount off of any motorcycle purchase if you can produce an AMA membership card?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Stop.
Of course I would. Absolutely. I would do a $50 discount and I would literally go a straight up donation to AMA and a donation of that $50 to the AMA on behalf of our shop, on behalf of Cleveland Moto, if you want to come into my shop and you show me an active AMA membership card. fuck yeah, I'll do that. I'll put my money where my mouth is.
All right, let's embrace the real joy of AMA Vintage Days. It's doing stupid
Although I've been
shit,
drinking.
right?
Oh yeah,
What
stupidity.
about this? What if we created a challenge series where you challenge your listeners, say, hey, if you guys will collectively donate $1,000,
Right.
I
We'll do
will
something
do a
stupid.
wheelie naked across the parking lot or something, What if we each came up with like a challenge that if people
Right.
filled the bucket,
Right.
Your podcast is a little different. We'd have to say, pay us to not do a naked weekly across the park. Pretty much what it comes down to for us.
oh, I would pay $1,000 to see Phil do it across his parking lot naked.
You could do that. I mean,
I heard
literally, you get that for free at AMA Vintage Days.
I know.
That's free behavior at AMA Vintage Days. But yeah, I mean, that's not even a thing. So
Maybe we do
totally
a
agree.
challenge.
Yeah,
You
it's a
don't
challenge.
have to pay a dime.
Right. Yeah. And if you do it, and yeah, John's seen me fucked up enough on motorcycles. Sorry, to to know that. Yeah, I am always up for shenanigans.
Doesn't that mostly happen at band camp?
Always. Yeah, always. I mean, that's good. I mean, that's what it's meant to do. It's to make people like me do dumb stuff and go, did you guys see that? That was great. That was awesome. I was being awesome.
Contest.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Would you jump a bike into a lake?
Depends on the bike.
And what would you have to raise to do that?
Right. And this is a great thing. This is how Liza gets somebody else to do it. And once again, Cameron's not here. So,
Hey, it's the power of the Evil Knievel suit. If you could
It is
just
the
get them
power
in
of the
the
Evel Knievel
suit, there's nothing they won't do.
be careful. I also have an Evel Knievel suit. But I do like that. And I do think that that's great. And I am willing, if we're going to do this, you bet your ass, you buy a bike at my shop and you show me an AMA membership card, I will donate $50. I've done dumber things for worse reasons.
Wait a minute. Are you saying just show up, show me the card, and then you'll pony up, or do they have to buy something?
Listen to Chris, fucking squeaky wallet Chris over here, missed the whole buy a bike.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Right.
You left that part out.
No, I didn't.
No, I didn't.
I said, you show up my shop, you buy a bike, I'll donate. Right. But
I was
that's
very specific about buy a bike.
right. Exactly. But that's that kind of a thing. And it's like, okay, we can do that. As a shop, that's one thing that we can do to motivate people and kind of encourage people to say, look, it might cost you X amount of money a year to be an AMA member, but wouldn't it be cool to know that your membership dues were being matched and being submitted to the organization? So yeah, I mean, I'll give
you $50 too. I mean, or not.
That's a good point.
I like
have they
spending Phil's money.
have they even come up with a donation? Is there a spot to donate?
I have no idea. I mean, I'm certain there is, but
I'm sure they have well, let me look. I'll look and see if they have an online donation, PayPal.
Can attend? Donate here, help us
Hey,
out.
the fact is that when we asked who in this group had an AMA card in their pocket, and like Liza and I were the only ones that raised our fucking hands, my odds of having somebody come in and take me up on the $50 offer is pretty fucking small. It's like a hole-in-one contest.
I guess I'm willing to join the AMA.
Right.
Oh.
I mean,
I cannot thank you enough for that sacrifice.
Change your picture.
I thought we had a deal here, Liza.
well, let's, how about more than this? There you go. Look at that.
Is that his normal card?
What the shit is that? Steve, I so can't read that. That is an Ohio something card.
My shit plant license.
Oh,
That doesn't count.
Well, let me pull out my.
I actually have an AMA membership. It's the American Modelers Association membership.
Oh yes, I'm here.
There you go.
Chris, aren't you a member of the American Medical Association?
I'm a member of the American Morons Association. Does that count?
What's with everybody stepping on the same 3 goddamn letters?
All right.
It's just like October. What the heck?
It is, and I can.
Too.
What the fuck is that? Oh, is there membership for Pull Apart?
Yeah.
This is my VA card, so I can get 10% off at Home Depot because I'm a veteran.
Nice. Totally worth it.
Chris, do you have a joke for us?
I do.
What? You got a joke?
I do.
And we had a seminar before he started, so if he has to, he should know how to share a screen now, too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. So fuck that.
Okay. Yeah,
Let me get my cheaters on. So a man escapes from prison where he's been locked up for 15 years. He breaks into a house to look for money and guns. Inside, he finds a young couple in bed. He orders the guy out of bed and ties him up to a chair. While tying the homeowner's wife to the bed, the convict gets on top of her. He kisses her neck and gets up and goes into the bathroom. While he's in the bathroom, the husband whispers to his wife, "Hey, listen, this guy's an escaped convict. Just look at his clothes. He's probably spent a lot of time in jail and hasn't seen a woman in years. I saw how he kissed your neck. If he wants sex, don't resist, don't complain. Do whatever he tells you to do. Satisfy him no matter how much he nauseates you. This guy is obviously very dangerous. If he gets angry, he'll kill us both. Be strong, honey. I love you." The wife responds, "He wasn't kissing my neck. He was whispering in my ear. He told me he's gay and thinks you're cute and asked me if we have any Vaseline. I told him it was in the bathroom. Be strong, honey. I love you too."
Are you okay with that, Liza? I mean, it's funny. No?
Oh no. I have a joke that I don't even think I could share on the show.
Why not?
You are aware.
Now you got to share it.
No, okay.
You are aware on what podcast you are, right?
I know, but here's the thing. You have to promise. I will tell it. If you promise me you will edit it out if you think that it's too bad.
There's no such thing.
Yeah.
No, there is.
Worse than my jokes?
I'm holding on right now. I'm ready for this.
There is. I need you to be. Promise me you will edit it out if you think it is.
I do the editing, and if it's something that we're like, oh my God, we have to stop now, I will edit it out for you, I promise. But
Hey, Steve.
I'm taking deep breaths.
Hey, Steve.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take executive privilege here, and I'm going to set a bar. I'm going to set a level. I'm just going to adjust the levels of jokes.
Okay.
Why do you wrap a hamster in electrical tape?
So it doesn't explode?
When you fuck it. Liza?
How do you get a gay guy to fuck a woman? Pack her cunt with shit.
Fair game.
I like it.
Well done.
Well done.
You're currently in third place, though.
I think the hamster beat you out.
That's right up with vermin fucking.
I missed it. I was buffering. Fuck. I got screwed.
COVID problems.
Motherfucker. Now I gotta listen to this stupid fucking podcast.
No, I got a joke for you. You guys hear the koala bear joke ever? So there's a koala bear. He's sick of he's been in the zoo for like 20 years. He's sick of it. So he puts a little pin in the door, and the guy comes to feed him, and he's like, okay, the door's good. About midnight, he slips out. It works. He gets out and he's walking through the zoo, and all the animals are like, fuck, where you going, Bob? He's like, I'm fucking out of here. See you guys later. So he gets to the end of the zoo and he walks down the street and he sees a bar and he's like, God damn, I haven't had a whiskey in a long time. So the little koala bear goes into the thing, sits down at the bar and says, give me a Jack Daniels. Guy's like, dude, you're a koala bear. He's like, yeah, what are you, racist? Give me a fucking Jack Daniels. Guy's like, oh, okay, fine, whatever. So he gives the thing and he has a shot. And then into the door walks a blonde, and she's wearing a mini skirt and kind of like dressed pretty sexily. Koala bear looks over and goes, damn, I haven't had a woman in a long time. He's like, hey, babe, can I buy you a drink? She's like, you're a koala bear. He's like, yeah. She's like, you got money, right? And he's like, yeah, I got money. And like, okay, fine. So they sit down and they're having drinks. 3-4 drinks later, he's like, look, you want to get out of here? She's like, yeah, you want to go to your place or mine? He's like, I'm in between places right now, so let's go to yours. All right. Little koala bear and chick walks to her apartment. They go upstairs. As soon as he gets in the door, he grabs her, throws her down, rips her panties off, and goes down on her and gives her the best head she's ever had in her life. She screams in a wild orgasm. The little koala bear jumps up and starts walking away. She's like, hey, buddy, where you going? He goes, we established this. I'm a fucking koala bear. And she's like, well, look, dude, I'm a prostitute. You owe me $50. And he's like, no, I don't. She's like, what are you talking about? And he grabs the dictionary and she's like, look up prostitute. So it's a woman who gets paid for sexual favors or a man who gets paid for sexual favors. He goes, okay, so? She's like, well, I'm a koala bear. It doesn't matter. She's like, what do you mean? So he has a koala bear that says, small furry animal who eats bush and leaves.
It was a long build-up.
It was a long.
Did you hear about the worst zoo in the world? It only has one dog. It's a Shih Tzu.
It's a Shih Tzu. The koala bear joke was also like an excellent explanation of the Oxford comma.
No, we can
It's
make
like it's a grammar joke
for this part of the podcast.
You know what? Some people pay $10 a month. Would you like to hear from one of them?
Yes.
Yeah. So you guys may remember last week we spoke with Matt Davidson, or we read Matt Davidson's email about his Honda CB350 that was giving him bad spark, or intermittent spark, as we would say. So I like it when people clearly listen to the fucking podcast and chime in. Very cool. He said, Phil, I just wanted to send you a big fucking thank you to you and the crew for going over my 350 issues last week. I really listened to that part about 4 times and took some notes. Good, because we were kind of fucked up. And hoping I'll be able to dive into that bike this weekend, because again, he has multiple CVs of multiple different displacements. I know you mentioned it in the podcast, but you guys did not go over electronic ignitions. You guys went over my question about static timing of the points versus a point gap a good long while ago, and I consider myself very well versed when it comes to points. But the rat-fucked CB550 I brought home a couple of months ago has a Dyna 2000 kit on it, which I promptly removed, thinking I would put it on my 78 750 Super Sport project. My questions are, how do they work and are they worth it? I know Johnny Mac is a diehard points guy, so I don't want to fucking hear throw the thing in the trash.
Throw the thing in the fucking trash.
And just to forewarn you, I currently have 19 bikes if you count a Ruckus and a couple of Vespas. I know you had mentioned doing a Vespa show sometime, which I think is a great topic, would be new to you Vespa checklist. Happy Friday, gentlemen. I greatly appreciate the shit show. Matt Davidson, thanks to you in fucking Iowa.
Holy
so
shit.
Here's to you.
Is your 32 ounce Manhattan already gone?
Almost.
Hey, Phil, do we have any podcast listeners in Nebraska?
Oh, I'm sure we do. Yeah.
I made boxes last week, just so I want to give a shout out to Nebraska for making the best cabbage roll meat pie thing. It's delicious.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Stuff you find on the ground?
No, it's like they have this chain, like there's like 10 of them in Nebraska, and it's like a cabbage, beef, and onions stuffed in like a fresh roll, like it's like a kibbe. It's really delicious.
Okay.
Well, thank God for Nebraska.
No, I hate Nebraska. Driving through Nebraska has almost killed me 3 times, and I got one big ticket.
It's my favorite state.
You know Nebraska is spelled backwards? XR Ben.
Oh, go Liza.
I did want to ask a question since we're talking about AMA Vintage Days. Should be a wash. Are there any other events that you guys are planning on attending this year, or is this just everything's done?
Chris?
Aren't we going to do the back road discovery route backwards? Remember that idea?
Did you just say we're going to do the backdoor discovery route?
Back road.
Buckeye.
Yeah, the Rusty Buckeye.
Rusty Buckeye. Honestly, guys, this is the fucking year to do it because, I mean, myself personally, I could probably string together 7 or 8 days in a row so we could go fuck off and ride a stupid ride somewhere.
We'll do the rusty trombone.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that you guys are right. I think this is a really good year for us to do the Mid-Atlantic BDR.
Inappropriate bikes.
I don't give a fuck.
I'll do it on the Monkey.
I'm pretty sure the shoot and scoot will still happen if we want it to.
Yeah. It would be
the motorcycle shows and the AIM show, but they're way in January. It's next year basically, but this coming season.
I'm still planning on going to that.
Right, and the AIM show has been relocated from September-ish to January-ish, which will cut down the test rides in Columbus, Ohio. Unless Polaris is there with a bunch of snow machines, we're fucked. There won't be any demo rides.
For global warming.
Is that an option?
Why not?
I've never done one of those.
We should do them downtown Columbus. Fuck everything else. Have nothing but Can-Am Spiders, Polaris slingshots, and snowmobiles. Yeah.
And Vanderhalls.
And Vanderhalls. And Urals with sidecars.
Oh.
It should be all snow all the time.
And a jump.
Not a ramp.
And some nice hot wine. Yeah.
So what other things? I mean, so I can tell you, for those who listen to my show, since all the events are canceled, Jim and I are planning in July a road trip. We rented an RV and we're putting the dirt bike trailer on the back, and we're going to go to Utah, Colorado, Wyoming, South Dakota, stopping and riding amazing trails the whole way. Really? And we're going to be cooking and sleeping and shitting in the RV and avoiding people.
Go to Nebraska. They got this cabbage thing that you can get.
Just find it on the ground, apparently. So that's changed. Like, instead of going to an event, we're creating our own event and doing
basically doing
RV road trip.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a really good idea. And I'm sure that those RV rentals, because the place that I normally rent RVs from, which is like rideshare for RVs, it's pretty much wide open now. People would love to have anyone do any business with them. So
I predict this summer it's going to be jammed. That's what everyone's going to be doing.
Really? Yeah, that's a good idea because you can social distance with your family, right?
Well, look at it this way. So how many of you all, as a child, got put in a station wagon and went cross country? Maybe did national parks. Did you guys all do that at some point?
I got put in the back of a pickup truck and went all the way across country.
The Runza.
Okay, grumpy story guys started screen sharing, but I don't see that.
So that's something we all did as kids, but like Nick, did you do that as a kid?
Not in the typical cross country way. I mean, we went to Canada and some stuff around there, but I didn't go like out west or anything in an RV or a station wagon or something like that.
I think for the younger generation, you would fly to Disney World or fly to wherever, Yep. That's how people traveled. I think this is going to be family trips, road trips all over again.
When I was about 12, we loaded up the 1972 C10 pickup truck with the 1963 Ciro Scotty behind it. And we did a big loop around the country. We went to the St. Louis Arch. We went to see Yellowstone, Old Faithful. We went up through, we went to Gillies, the Montanas. We spent 2 weeks on the road. And my brothers beat the fuck out of me in the back of that pickup truck the whole time. I literally, my dad set up a bed, and I had to crawl up underneath the bed to hide from them. and the hot exhaust was fucking cooking me alive as we drove across fucking deserts. It was I almost got eaten by a bear twice in Yellowstone. It was fucked up. We saw, but I still remember seeing Mount Rushmore and all that shit. I would love to, at some point, take my daughter on a fucking hell ride like that. But we'll see.
What the hell is Steve doing?
What is Steve doing?
I'm trying to exit out of here, but I can't.
I know, it's obvious. You're
Don't let
lost
me
in
do
your own
anything.
Sleepy,
program.
will you kill him? Sleepy, fix him.
Did you try hitting the big orange X thing?
There is no orange X things. I use Linux.
He's using Linux. This is brought to you by Commodore 64.
Okay, I'm going to leave.
You don't leave. Don't leave. Don't leave, Steve. Don't leave.
Yeah, it'll be up there for the rest of the night.
Fuck everything up. Just there we go.
Thank you.
And I can tell you another event. I'm signed up at the end of the year, November, for an ADV rally. Because I'm thinking events with 100, 200, 300 people where you can have safe distancing, mostly doing riding and training and stuff like that. I think you can have a safe event, you know?
I think you're right.
We could rent a property for the weekend or something like that and take some of those little mini bikes you got. Just have we'll all fucking be cool. Do something stupid.
You guys want to hear something absolutely insane?
Yes.
You want to hear something stupid?
Yes.
We have sold every single one of those in just stupid little mini bikes. All of the ones that Liza wanted to borrow or rent when they came through town, they all sold out. And here's the weird thing is I talked to the guys at SSR. They are fucking out of them. So they have pre-ordered a hojillion of them. And they're hoping that we're going to have some bikes back in our inventory by maybe mid-July. But TNT 135s like Sleepy got, good luck. If you don't have one right now, we have people calling the shop 4 times a day that are they're stupid, they don't get it. And they're calling the shop and they're like, hey, dude, if I pay cash, can you give me a $300 discount? I'm like, dude, if you pay me $300 over, I'll put you on the fucking list.
Hey, I have world exclusive. You ready for world exclusive?
Yeah.
All right. So, can you guys see this thing?
I do.
Yeah.
Okay.
It looks really good except for that fucking gay exhaust. I mean, Camaro exhaust.
I know. Well, here's the thing. The other one was too loud with that pipe. It was like going down the street, people were snarling at me. It was crazy.
Which means it was perfect.
But yeah, well, it is. I mean, I can always put it back. I didn't fuck it up or anything. It's
I do know what you're talking about.
But so you see this pipe right here, the mid pipe?
I do.
That is from a jet engine. So they don't make a slip on for this bike, and so with the Chimera exhaust coming up, all you can do is put the stock exhaust back on, which sounds great until you get up on it, and then it's louder than a Harley. It's insane.
And it was a very harsh tone too.
Yeah, it had there was just no baffling. Yeah. So I bought a ground pipe on sale that was returned to something for $50 on eBay, and it came with the ground tube, but this one needs to go 45. So I called my buddy who's a really good stainless steel welder, and he's like, hey, I have a whole pile of jet engine pipes. And I said, what? And he said, yeah, they scrapped the jet, so they have all the pipes from the engine. Bring it over. So he found a pipe that matched perfectly. We welded it in. So this literally from here to here is a jet engine pipe.
Nice.
And so now it sounds great. It looks cool.
It does. I did listen to the video. It actually really sounds fucking fantastic.
Yeah, it needed that baffle. It sucks because I do like the stock exhaust better, but it's just now it's nobody wants to shoot me when I'm riding down the street.
I want to shoot you.
What makes it look worse is I look like a freaking gorilla humping a football on the little thing, and then it's loud and snappy and making everybody look at me. It was horrible, man.
I'm just curious what that windshield is doing on that thing.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the windshield?
Yeah.
Does it actually do anything?
Yeah, it's being a windshield.
What's the windshield?
Just keeps the wind off your belly button? What's going on?
I mean, how do you put any of your body behind that windshield, or is that just a cod piece?
Oh man, it's up there. I mean,
that keep the flies off your dick?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. No, I mean, literally, it does. It just keeps the wind from going on your chest and causing you weird buffeting things and stuff.
Okay.
The wind at 35 miles per hour. It's pretty bad.
This goes 80.
It is. Up here in Cleveland, it is.
That's rough. That was rough.
I like the windshield.
That bike was doing 80 miles an hour on 480. Thank you very much.
Really? Holy shit.
With the pipe.
You know what? So we're going to have to do, once I do finally get more of these.
I'd like you to know you just voided your warranty.
I'm sure.
Are you sure that it was the exhaust that was too loud, or was it you screaming the whole time?
That was me, most likely. Yeah.
So I take it you will be riding that tomorrow.
Whatever you want. We can take big bikes. We can take small bikes. Just tell me before I leave.
I'm going to ride my CB 175.
All right. I'll ride little guy then. Cool.
I'm taking a Super Hawk.
Steve?
Because is that the only one you... Oh, we'll see if it makes it this time.
Steve, I have an issue
I'll be
with
standing
you
by with the trailer.
Why?
that I want to address.
Uh-oh.
You have one of the most amazing bikes in the world, and you never ride it. I never hear you talk about it.
PC800.
Which one? The PC800?
PC800.
No, the Africa Twin, dude.
No, we do. We rode.
I rode that.
Yeah, he let me
Not
ride.
enough, man. You don't give it enough props.
I love it.
When you have 20-something bikes, you got to ride them all.
When we go on the 7-day
I
adventure.
heard yours has too many buttons.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? That brings it up. Now, Phil, I got to bitch you out for a bit. I know. It was just way too complicated. Here's the thing, though, about the DCT. That they put it in the 700, right?
Right.
With no
No
buttons, no nothing.
Right. Right.
Now on the Africa Twin, because they give you all of the choices
Right.
for all the different riding styles you may be doing, I think it's awesome.
And how many buttons do you have on your left hand?
I think too complicated is just fine with me.
Yeah. You have 10 buttons. You have 10 buttons and 5 fingers.
No, stop it.
And a star button. What does the star button do?
I don't have the star on mine. That
What
came
do you
after.
want to do?
But the star button was for a preset.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I just discovered that I have more settings on that thing I didn't know about on the right hand.
Which clearly means there's too many fucking settings.
I didn't know that the sports setting had 1, 2, and 3 settings.
See? This is it.
I've just been in full-on sport the whole time. That's the whole point. You can just toggle between 2 things, and that's fine. And if you want to be able to set it up and do more things and get on dirt and slide the wheel or hit the open road and save fuel, I mean, you can do all that.
You absolutely
It's
can.
good to
Have I ever said I dislike my Africa Twin? No. I mean, I like my Africa Twin, but I mean...
You don't like it enough, buddy. You don't like it enough.
I like it. I offered to trade my ascot for it and a handy for my wife.
And a handy.
That's what broke the deal.
But you know what, Liza, the DTC has to be nice. When Phil posted the video of riding your bike, the traffic where you guys are at is so insane that the DTC has to be awesome for that. Like you don't even have
it was. It did work really well for that.
Well, in the dirt or like mud, you're not having to adjust and play with the clutch. I mean, it gives somebody who's not as skilled of a rider in the dirt, you don't have to think about any of that. You don't have to think about what gear you're in. You just have to think about staying upright. That's
a creep. I want to know how...
You can't stall it out, can you?
No.
So I want to know how, can you go really slowly with that? Because you cannot go, the minimum speed at idle in first gear is 8 miles an hour, and it sucks.
It sucks.
No, I do in the parking lot here. I do stop to stop standing figure eights.
You can go impossibly slowly on an Africa Twin, like it's like a recluse clutch, in so much that you just can't stall it. It's impossible to stall it. Yeah.
The one downside I have discovered to it is if you do accidentally whiskey throttle, like maybe you're like going over bumps or something, my instinct is to grab the clutch to get control. Nope. Ain't no clutch. And if you're trying to reach for the brake, oftentimes that just makes it worse. Yeah. So I've had that a couple times where I was trying to turn slowly in a parking lot and I hit it because I have a wrist rest on it. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, there's nothing to grab. Yeah. Turn it off.
There is no secondary safety.
Yeah, I've lurched close to the edge a couple times. We'll see.
You were scared. The lady in the wheelchair was like, is she?
Yeah. So any other events, anything? I mean, it seems like this is an opportunity. And I know a lot of people are having online events, and
there's a lot of that, and I do think that we just got a notification from the guys from the DGR. So when the DGR has already sort of preemptively said there probably won't be a DGR this year, so that's an event that usually takes place at the very end of the season, and those guys are already committing to the fact that that's just not going to happen. It's going to be something different. It's going to be something weird. Many things right now are going to be virtual, or they're going to be at your own discretion or at your own pace. The event will be there, but it'll be on your device, and your device will tell you like, okay, well, we're going to go on this route, but not in groups of more than 6 or 10 riders.
Now might be the time to revive the old poker runs. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you go out, you go here, you stop here, you can jump off your bike, you can drink a beer or something and jump back on, like everybody gets in line, or I don't know.
Look, saddlebags are going to be really fucking important this year, okay? Because the bars are closed. The good ones are closed. Yeah.
So is that something... Is that something to throw into the AMA suggestion pot? Suggesting that they create some sort of poker runs, or kind of like the ride on Washington that's supposed to happen in 2 weeks. They turned it into a Reaver event where you're going to ride with everyone else through Reaver and log your miles, which is really cool.
See, I think what they could do is what we do in New York. Okay, so they have this book that has every village and city in the Adirondacks, and so my wife and I ride, and you go and you get a stamp from each village or whatever. So you can do something like that and have like a landmarks, or like in the state of Ohio or wherever, even if it's like a long run, so a group of people can do it. But they're not doing it all at the same time, but you could complete a book, and then at some point you could discuss it, or I don't know. What would you do? It's like, it sucks when you can't be next to a person and just feel their emotions. That's my problem. And I don't like this. It's okay, and I look forward to this every weekend, but it sucks because I'd rather just be in a room with people.
Steve, is that your only problem?
I have a lot of other. That's one of my biggest ones. So.
He misses Johnny Mac a lot because they used to grab each other's boobs and stuff the whole podcast long.
He's got such nice boobs too.
Steve, I can't wait to get my hands on you again.
So I have to say, this whole new way of doing podcasting did lend to one of my. Oh yes, thank you for the photo, Phil. Did lend to one of my favorite moments on your show, which is the famous grumpy sewer guy falling off his chair. That was awesome. On so many levels.
I thought he was dead. We seriously thought he had a heart attack, and
we didn't think. Yeah, we thought he might not have made it.
How many people here had 911 dialed waiting for the other thing? I don't even know his address. I just know. Okay, go to the street and hang a left. Fuck.
Well, let me tell you, you don't use an improvised bong made out of black pipe and whatever in your garage and drink a bottle of whiskey and expect to stay on your feet.
Have you tried this? Have you thought of putting some of the weed in the air intake on your car and then just sucking on the tailpipe while it's running? It's basically a bong, right?
Do you ever had an inflatable air mattress and had the thing that runs on 4C batteries to inflate the air mattress?
Oh, yeah. It's been my dream to set up a Captain Morgan's pump that works off of the windshield wiper squirters. So I just take the sump and fill it full of Captain Morgan, and run the pipe right through my dash and have it come out right in my cup holder.
It's been your dream.
Spice up my Coke from McDonald's.
The one dude did it. Standby.
Standby. More data.
Yeah, hold on. I gotta get the data.
Hey Phil, I'd like to come back full circle to the beginning. I'd like to go back to Evel Knievel toy and throw that down. Like I said, this is a challenge, and this is a challenge I've been putting out to all of my listeners. I put it out to yours as well. Because we can't ride, because we can't have these social events, you can have Evel in your backyard.
Right. Oh yeah.
And it is a good stand-in, I will tell you. I mean, Jim and I spent hours creating different jumps and the flames and the fireworks and all this stuff. Like, we spent days doing that. So much fun. So that is a good alternative to riding.
It is a very, very fun thing. I mean, it is one of those absolute things that the Evel Knievel toy is a very, very good analog and a very, very good alternative when it's pouring fucking down rain and shit. It is also a good drunken shenanigans device. It does. I mean, it works that perfectly.
And I'll tell you, as much as I loved the toy, not just the toy. I mean, Evel. I mean, look at my chair I'm sitting in right here. That's my desk chair. Evel Knievel desk chair, right? I love the fact that we now know what a horrible man he was, that he was a role model to children. And let's start that trend all over again. Why don't we? Honestly,
as a little kid growing up,
Evil life.
I did. I absolutely fucking loved him. And it was a real, I mean, for me as a little kid growing up, Evel Knievel was my whole world. I watched everything that had Evel Knievel or Kiss associated with it. It's a really, really funny thing. But if you type into Google Evel Knievel drunk, you will get some images where you're just like, yep, that guy punched a lot of people. He was a hockey star, right? I mean, prior to him getting on a motorcycle, wasn't he just like
the Butte Bombers?
Yeah, right. He was in the Butte Bombers, for fuck's sake.
I like to call it the Butt Bombers, though.
The Butt Bombers. I don't think Evel would approve.
There you go. Yeah. Watch this. So here he is. He already hooked it up to the front. And he's going
mix and spot. Yeah. Test your flow.
Perfect.
There you go.
So you don't get soapy cocktails. Once she's full of plus, you fill it up with your favorite bottle. Make you some drinks to go. You want a drink? Frozen Jack, little Coke, all stealthy. Pop her in there. Got my 3-shot.
All right, this changes everything. If you get this guy to AMA Vintage Days, I'm coming. Because that is going to be a shit show worth seeing.
I think he was camped across from us last year. I'm pretty certain. Dude,
you can already buy the windshield wiper squirter tank with the motor and everything for like $15.
Oh yeah.
I'd probably put one in the trunk or something like that, and then just run it up there. And
better be polyethylene.
There's absolutely no reason that you couldn't do that and make it awesome. That's it.
Oh wow!
Holy cow!
Dang.
Well done.
So there goes Dr. Manhattan. Yeah.
Why does it look like Chris Smith is reading a Playboy on the toilet?
Because he's reading a Playboy on the toilet.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I was doing a Sudoku.
Oh, so one of our listeners did advise us that there was a C5 military available in
Boise, Idaho.
Yeah, Boise, Idaho.
And I reached out to the guy. I haven't heard back from him yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Somebody is going to be a bitch because I think Boise, Idaho is a suburb of Seattle.
Yeah. It's out there.
I'll pick it up for you when I go visit my daughter in Denver.
That is nowhere near Boise.
Well, close enough. We're supposed to go up north.
Close enough.
Nowhere near.
Well, can you bring back one of those cabbage things from Nebraska for me?
I definitely will.
Is that the Runza?
Iron.
That's it.
I think Nebraska is where I called you for help when I got the bad gas and I was stuck on the side of the
Stuck on
road.
the side of the road in Nebraska. If anybody is a podcast listener and a world traveler and you would like a hot tip for the one good thing to do in Nebraska, I recommend Pioneer Village. Pioneer Village is just minutes off of I-80, like 120 minutes off of I-80. It's so close to I-80 you can get there on almost a whole tank of gas. But you will see billboards for Pioneer Village, like you'll see billboards for Wall Drug or like south of the border. You'll see billboards for hundreds of miles advertising Pioneer Village. But it is worth the fucking trip. It is a museum to America. And I would like to make fun of it. I can't. It's just one guy who had way too much money and decided to buy one of everything. He bought one of every car sold in America after World War II, and he has them in a museum. Like one of every model. So if you want like a Dodge Coronet, he's got all 5 different ways the Dodge Coronet came in 1965.
That's awesome.
So look up Pioneer Village, and it is insane. He's got airplanes, boats, tanks, fucking trains and shit.
It is in Minden, Minden, Nebraska.
Just go there. It's amazing. He has an entire, the Dust Bowl. He has a Dust Bowl house, like a sod house, that has the world's largest salt and pepper shaker collection in the house.
Yeah, but how many toasters does he have?
Your dad has more toasters. And I would like to say that as an authority on both locations. Pioneer Village has a mega fuck ton of toasters, but your father has a metric mega fuck ton of toasters. Your dad's got them beat. I'm probably on Lionel trains too. Yeah. Your dad's a proper collector.
Nebraska's also got a gas station called Come and Go.
Yes, it does. I have their beer koozie right now in my kitchen, and it's K. It come with a K.
Yeah,
yeah. It's Come and Go, yeah. and that's worth the price of admission right there. No, it's not. It's a really big, wide state. Yeah.
I got another question. So you said that you're selling these mini bikes, and this seems to be a trend that's happening. I have to say, after hearing your last show, I started looking at the TNTs and go, I'm resisting, right? What other bikes are out there that are just stupid, fun, small bikes that people should be looking at?
I do think that like the TNT might be winning right now because for the price of $26.99, it's really hard to get that good of a bike from anybody else. Yeah. Because like the Razkul and like he had the Tau Grim, like there's the Vader and all that shit. Mm-hmm. Like all that stuff is like $600 or $700 less than a TNT. The TNT is ball solid.
Well, that's the thing. So like I had a Tau Hellcat. It's like they had a special. It was $1,000 delivered to my door, and it was much better than you'd think it would be. And it was a good bike, and it ran, and it did 50 miles an hour, and all this, whatever, and it's fine. But the TNT is so different in quality. But the thing is all these guys are buying the other ones, and they're putting like $1,000 or $1,500 into them to try to make them go faster and do stuff, and all that already comes on the TNT. And that's what makes that bike particularly cool. But like every day you turn around, somebody's coming out with a new one, and you just have to kind of wait and figure out the longevity. So
the thing that drives me crazy about the Groms is they don't go down in value. They go up.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't want to get it at all.
It's mass hysteria.
Well, the TNT is way better. I mean, looking at the build quality on the TNT, I'd buy a TNT before a Grom any day.
I mean, the quality of the TNT.
I come from a hardcore Honda guy.
Yeah, no, seriously. But like, so I love my Super Tenere. I love it. It's a great bike, but the quality of the TNT made me go like, you know what? If Phil could get the 506, the 500cc adventure bike by them, I might be tempted to sell my Super Tenere and just get that because the quality of this bike is so nice, man.
Yeah.
But I don't know when they're going to be available in the States. So.
And it is, like, no bullshit aside, anything, they're back ordered so deep right now on that product. And, a lot of that SSR stuff, the play bikes, the small 110s, the 125s, that stuff is back ordered hard. And it's going to be mid-July probably before a lot of dealers are going to see enough units to actually talk about. We hit them with a very fucking serious order because of the back order. And, it's going to be like nobody's going to have anything. So the dealers that are holding inventory right now, they might even be upcharging that shit. But in July, hopefully we'll get a whole bunch of stuff in at the same time. It's been a very strange year, guys. I'm going to tell you, for motorcycles and scooters and everything else, remember that a lot of our bikes for the American market are only built one time. And this is weird because Americans like to think that we're at the center of the universe. But when it comes to motorcycles and scooters and shit, we are literally the fucking tail of the dog. We are like 1% of the world scooter market. We're like a very small percentage of anything other than the Harley Davidson market. And it's a really, really tough thing because bikes that are made in any other country other than here, they make the bikes for the whole planet. And then for one shitty week, they make the American bikes. And the one shitty week is because the American bikes have different wiring harness, different switches, different controls, so that we can have like a kill switch and that we're not allowed to turn our headlight off.
Ugly lights too, ugly turn signals.
Exactly. We have DOT approved turn signals that other countries, the bikes are sexy and the turn signals are molded into the bikes. And in America, you got to put these bullshit popsicle lights on the outside of the motorcycle that are DOT approved.
Which is fucking stupid because nobody some people keep them. I don't fuck with my stuff, but 90% of the guys that buy a motorcycle buy the fucking body mounted. Mm-hmm. It's not illegal to change them, which is stupid. Why do they make the companies make them in the first place if you guys get them and can just take them off the same day? You know what I mean? It's the law is just whatever, fuck off. You can do what you want.
I vote for Cinch.
Right. Well, if you look at Chris's background right now, he's got the C5 on his background, and those bullet turn signals that are on there, those are the same exact bullet turn signals that you see on all of the late 80s Hondas. So that's from a particular company that got DOT approval for a turn signal that was okay in the United States. And that one company got contracts from every fucking body. So there's no wonder why a motorcycle that is supposed to be emulating a military motorcycle from the 50s has got turn signals on it from a Japanese motorcycle from the fucking 80s. And it's because that shit's approved, and it's silly as fuck. It makes no sense, but that shit's an approved turn signal. And it's why we have a lot of bullshit, like these extra large, gigantic turn signals on a motorcycle where the turn signals look stupid, like a Honda CB 400F Super Sport, where the turn signals are almost as big as the fucking headlight. And that's a DOT thing. So these factories all basically build the motorcycles for the American market like 1 day or 1 week per year. They don't keep doing it throughout the course of the year because they would have to change the wiring harness. They'd have to change the switchgear. They would have to stop the entire assembly line just to build bikes for America. And that's not profitable. Well, guess when the COVID hit in relationship to the American bikes being built?
Week before?
3 months ago.
During. Yeah. So that's why a lot of companies right now don't have motorcycles for their American customers because, one, we represent a very small amount of the market that they build. And two, they usually build for us in February and March because our riding season as a whole, even shops in California, are slow until March and April. So they're building for us in February, and that's when COVID hit. So a lot of manufacturers that rely on Asian or European manufacturing don't have any inventory because they didn't fucking get built because their people haven't been to work for 60 days.
Except for Suzuki, because their DR650s were all done in 1998. They're just on them. Well, they had the sticker appliers were still there, so they're just like Send them out. We're good.
All they had to build was VIN tags. So yeah, it is a tough thing. So we've had a lot of people come in and they're like, okay, well, I'm excited. Remember that COVID, one of the weird things about COVID is that social distancing is good and that motorcycles do represent something about like, we can do this, or motor scooters and whatever. So I've had a lot of people come in, they're like, oh, well, but I want a purple Vespa now. And I'm like, well, dude, Italy got it really bad, man. Like Italy didn't go to work for 60 days, Here's
a green one. Get the purple paint. You're good.
Exactly.
Here's a pink buddy with a little bit of damage.
I've had more fucking people call me in the past month wanting pink bikes, and Buddy, Stella, and Vespa all learned their lesson about 10 or 14 years ago about don't build a pink bike. You think it's a good idea, it's a bad idea. And yeah, it's just one of those things that like everyone's like, I want a pink Vespa. Not really. If your husband bought you one, you'd bring it back, you'd trade it in for a white one with a pink stripe. So it's tough.
Apparently Emma didn't get the memo.
No, Emma literally wanted to remind the planet that Emma owns that motorcycle. And I agree with her. I think that doing that bike in that color was a really smart thing. I do think that keeping the factory turn signals on was a mess, but everything else about the bike is delightful. And it's a good talking point to keep the 7-inch diameter DOT warning lights on the bike. So yeah, it's cool. I mean, it's a beautiful bike. It's gorgeous.
You guys mentioned the DR650 and everything, and it made me think about the KLR. And I'm like, I thought that they would almost immediately come out with some new upgrade to the KLR 650, the replacement for it. And I was just playing around searching. Yeah, I'm sorry. But anyway, it's obscure. He said, I don't know what made me think about it, but anyway, they're talking about in 2021 coming out with the KLX 700.
Right.
It's supposed to be the new KLR 650.
Right.
So I don't know. I care about it.
And I care about it too, because it should be fuel injected. It should be all of the things. And because it's bigger than a XR 650 or a DR 650 or a KLR 650, there should be a market for it. And it does sound like it's going to be a single cylinder, right?
Well, that's up in the air because they're saying, how do you feel about a twin cylinder KLX 700?
I'm okay with
it. Could possibly be a twin cylinder 700.
Is that an existing power plant, or is this going to be one off?
Well, it would have to be based off of like the Versys, right?
I was going to say it's going to be a Versys. It'll be a Versys 698.
Yeah, something like that.
It'll be a 698 Versys, which I totally approve of.
But then, too, I also saw where Honda's talking about coming out with a middleweight Africa Twin. They're coming out with maybe a 750 or an 800 Africa Twin.
Okay.
So that could be the new, breakthrough, breakout, market share, fucking grabber, whatever.
Oh yeah, the all Africa Twin. Oh, that looks good.
Hey John, do you remember when we were scouting out the DGR ride last year, a couple of years ago, and I was on the Versy 650, and we ended up behind the hospital in like giant deep gravel. And I was like, wow, I really wish I had a 21-inch wheel on the front of this Versys right now.
Well, I'm following you on a KLR 650 with a 21-inch front wheel.
And there's a dude on Adventure Rider that was sick of the KLR 650 just, in its current state. Right. So he's been taking Versys. He's been getting the swing arms and frames, but then taking maybe it's the Versys motor, but he puts this thing together with some dirt bike front fork and all this stuff. And he's got this stuff down, and he does like 25,000 miles a year off road on these things.
I'll bet you that's a KLX 700.
That's what it's probably going to be.
Well, take a Versys and put the front end off of a KLR 650 and updo it and make it a KLR Versys.
Right. And then you'll have a Versys that wobbles at 90 miles an hour.
Ta-da.
I still think that a Versys is the perfect motorcycle ever. I mean, I know people hate that shit when I say that, but of all the motorcycles I've ever ridden, of all the bikes that I've ever ridden, of anything I've ever done on a motorcycle, I hate to say it, but the bike that has consistently been okay at everything is the Versys 650.
Well, and I've always called it the perfect boring bike.
It is.
It'll do everything you ever need it to do, and it'll never promise to do anything you'll never do.
No, it don't. And it is magic because despite only being a 650, it does like to throw its front wheel in the air all the time, you know? And so it is one of those things. It's like, okay, well, it's only a 650. Oh yeah, it's only a 650, but let me show you some weird shit. And it'll throw the front wheel in first gear and second gear and a little bit of third. And it's a very playful, happy motor. It's a fun little, I mean, it's a fun bike.
But they're worth nothing.
Yeah, they're worth nothing.
I have one.
Yeah.
I love it. I never ride it because I've got so many other bikes in front of it that have a purpose, and I can't sell it. I don't. Yeah, because it's just too good to keep.
Wow,
this is what
look at that.
Pretty cool.
So that's a stock swing arm.
Yeah,
it goes through, but this is the first variant.
So that's just the same thing, but with a schnabel.
Yeah.
Oh, he did quite a bit. It's actually a different frame, believe it or not. I can go back.
Really?
The plastics off that.
Frame, and this was version 1, and he does like version 2, 3, and 4.
Okay.
They even get crazier, but these things, like, they can take everything. So basically, I think you're right. I think it's going to be like a modified version of the Versys, kind of something like this.
Yeah. I mean, I'll go on record as saying my favorite absolutely underrated motorcycle in my life has been the Versys 650. It's just amazing. Like, there's nothing you can't do with it. And that's fine, you know. And it's green.
My love for it is high, but the Africa Twin DCT to me it's the future. It's everything.
And it's a big fucking bike. I mean,
and it's a big fucking bike that half of you fuckers can't even reach the ground on.
If you say so.
It is the biggest bike I've ever had not just had my hands on. I mean, just pulling it out of the garage, it is a beast.
Yeah.
But then as soon as you're in motion, that all goes away.
But Liza, this podcast, the Cleveland Moto Podcast, is much taller than the average podcast. So as a whole, all of us, everybody in this podcast can ride an Africa Twin and be like, yeah, well, you know, it's like
That's
a KLR 650. It's just the seat's a little bit lower than a KLR 650.
Some of us are also heavier, so that puts the seat height lower. So, you know.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's like basically a Africa Twin feels like a KLR 650 with two bowling bags in the top case.
Actually, to me, the KLR or the Africa Twin felt like a BMW like F800 with guts. You know, like
real power.
Power.
Oh, hey, check this out, man. This is fuck. What are these two? I just fucked everything up. Hold on.
I was looking for that. I couldn't believe Jim and I took ours on some back roads up in Big Sur, and I couldn't believe I was cutting the rear end loose in turns and comfortable with this giant bike and letting it cut around.
Yeah.
There's a 650, a Marini.
Marini? So somebody bought the name, I guess.
Looks like
I mean, Moto Marini, I mean, that's been one of those things that...
Is that an 8.5?
Right.
Is it like Benelli? It ain't what it used to be.
Right.
Well, I don't know. Benelli's killing it, but this...
I know, but it's not the same as what it used to be.
No.
Really good. This is a 650.
Yeah. I mean, that X...
So it's a 6.5.
Doesn't that look exactly like a Versys 650 motor? Because it is.
It does, right?
Yeah, it does. So everything's in the right place for that to be a Kawasaki 650 motor.
Yeah.
Here, that's what the KLX 700 is going to look like.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Does this say it's going 277 miles per hour?
What? Where?
Look at this to spin it.
All right, hold on.
Okay, hold on.
Where was it? Right here maybe? No?
No, spin there.
Yeah, two. Very fast.
Is that a subliminal thing? Very, very fast bike. Yes.
So that motorcycle is currently going 180 miles per hour on the 270 kilometers per hour indicated.
No, that's Kelvin, so it'd be sitting still.
Yes. That's the temperature.
Yeah.
277. That's actually the weight of the rider.
But it's got to be really hard for these companies to even figure out what people want now. Because back in the day, it was like, I'd like a sport bike, I'd like a cruiser, I'd like this. Now guys are like, I want an adventure bike. And they're like, here's an adventure bike. It's 590 pounds. It's got 100 horsepower, 22 inches of suspension travel. Guys like, oh, if it's not under 400, I don't want it.
Right, exactly.
It's insane. They're getting so picky with stuff that they can't even get a bike right now. Like they can't.
This is a tough one for America because Harley Davidson is doing worse than Harley Davidson has ever done. And Indian is doing better than Polaris has ever done with Indian. So there's two companies that essentially sell to the same market. And one of them is taking it in the ass sideways. And the other one is triumphantly strutting through the fucking courtyard.
But, and I have a reputation for not being a Harley lover, and I remind everyone, I have nothing against the bikes. It's the people I dislike. But I do appreciate the fact that Harley is diversifying, and the Livewire is actually a good bike. Surprise, surprise. And these children's bikes, and they're diversifying.
Yeah.
I'm worried about Indian's future longevity. Mm-hmm. Harley at least is making the effort to pivot.
Harley's losing their ass right now with both hands. Mm-hmm. And despite rage fucking over their last CEO and bringing in a new guy, I don't see that it's going to turn anytime fast. I think that they've done a whole lot of work and a whole lot of equity with the entire 97 bike Softail line. And all the money they put into Livewire is pretty magical, and it is. They really put a giant thrust forward, but they put a giant thrust forward at the wrong fucking time. No choice of their own. So they showed us to the party with all the cool shit, and nobody's buying anything at the party because their target audience is putting on their red hat and going out and defying social norms. So it's a really tough thing for them right now. Go ahead.
Here's an article I'm reading. Harley Davidson's Livewire debacle to overshadow Q3 earnings.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to look up total sales for the Livewire. Right. Because I'm thinking it's going to be fucking low.
It is.
It's overpriced. And we all know as soon as Honda comes out with electric, it's done. Everyone's done.
Yeah.
We know that. But I respect the fact that they're going into territories you wouldn't expect them to. They're trying.
Yeah.
No, I totally agree with you, but they should have really run with it. They didn't run with it. They did it to say they did it, but they didn't do it they weren't serious about it. But if they were
saying, analysts weren't expecting them to sell more than 1,600 bikes. 400 to 1,600 Livewires. That's what they were expecting to sell.
It's overpriced, but it's a good bike.
Yeah, but hold on. When you said analysts were expecting them to sell between 400 and 1,600 Livewires.
Yeah.
Total. That's insane. I mean, that number is so small. That's like a Jesse James number. That's an Orange County Choppers.
How many Arch motorcycles are sold every year?
Exactly.
It's a boutique bike.
Yeah, you could build a boutique bike. You could build a niche market bike by hand and build 1,000 of them. You could build 600 of them. Shit, you don't need that many to get homologation in some classes. So when you think about 400 units to 1,600 units, when the cost of ramping up a model, the cost of ramping up something that's a clean sheet bike
Here we go. With sales at home and abroad continuing to fall, its next generation motorcycle mired in delays and prospects for future growth still cloudy, it seems clear Harley-Davidson needs to become a much more smaller company before it can hope to grow again.
Okay, but hold on. Phil, what's the leading electric motorcycle company in the world?
Zero, without a doubt.
How long have they been around?
Over, 14 years.
How many years have they made profit?
3 years. Yeah, right. 3 or 4 years. Yeah, that's exactly it. And you do have to do that. And it's funny because, we are aware that people still spit and piss and shit all over Zero for like, if you read the Cycle World Review, they're like, oh, the switchgear didn't feel up to the quality of the Harley-Davidson switchgear and all this different stuff. And it's realistically, I ride them every day. They're really fucking good bikes. And the thing is that can't rescue. No matter how good the Livewire is, that can't rescue all of Harley-Davidson. And that's like somebody saying like, no, this one really good lifeboat is going to save the Titanic. If you don't hit the fucking iceberg, you save the Titanic.
Yeah, but where's all the t-shirt sales now?
Yeah. Well, I haven't seen anybody wearing a Livewire t-shirt yet.
Hell, Harley-Davidson's Livewire has so far been a flop.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so was the first 10 years of Zeros. I mean, that you got to pay your dues. The market isn't ready yet.
Yeah.
But they're making a play.
Well, and I do think that right now in a COVID economy, it's very strange what bikes are going to sell and what bikes aren't going to sell. I'm going to put in the argument, a typical Cleveland argument that's bullshit, is like bikes under 10,000 are going to be valuable and desirable, and bikes that are over that are not going to be.
A Livewire is $29,799. A Chevy Volt is $33,520. So you're coming in at about the price of a fucking Chevy Volt.
Well, whatever happened to the K-pipe?
It died due to lack of interest.
Did it have the right price point?
The price point was good. The performance was bullshit. The K-pipe was one of those things that if you worked really, really super duper hard, you might be able to make it wheelie.
I mean, I'm wondering if the next 5 years is now the market's ready for the K-pipe.
Yeah, I think that shit like...
Yeah, the TNT and all the other stuff. Like, that's what's happening. Like, that's why all these little bikes are floating, you know?
Yeah, with the Spade, didn't the Spade replace it?
The Spade, no, they didn't necessarily replace it. They're in parallel. The only reason that you see Spades and you don't see K-pipes is because nobody's buying my K-pipes and people are buying my Spades. So we just stopped carrying them because nobody's fucking buying K-pipes. So we do still sell we still sell Spades, but nobody wants a K-pipe. And honestly, I don't blame them because a Spade is way more fun than a K-pipe.
I wanted it to succeed. I wanted it to.
Yeah. Well, we all felt that way about the Mad Ass too. And the Mad Ass started really good. Yeah. The Mad Ass started great, and then it just laid a giant turd in the pool. And so that's kind of why it failed.
But that's a big question with everything that's happening now, with sales down, with the economy that's going to go down. Are we now going to be ready for the small bike market? Are people going to be replacing cars with small displacement affordable bikes now?
Not in Cleveland, because gas is cheaper than shit, and it still rains and snows here.
It's a 6 month out of the year vehicle.
And I do see this as an opportunity, and I've seen it before in 2009 when the gas prices.
Matt go?
Yeah, when the gas prices got real cheap.
Piss in my backyard.
Nice, good job. When the gas prices got real cheap, SUV sales and all that crap went up again. And that's the way the Midwest tends to respond to that situation is you'll see Ford dealers and Chevy dealers giving like 0% financing for 5 years on a Hummer H3 kind of thing.
I have to admit, I have been sizing the bike shed to see how many barrels I can fit in there. I just want to stash. I think I can get about 12 barrels in there. Just stash them for a couple of years.
Stash a whole lot of gas.
Yeah.
No, the oil. They're giving it away for free. They'll pay you to take it, you know.
They apparently, right. It's like a very strange thing. And it's not motivation. Like if gas was $200 a gallon, it wouldn't change the way that I ride motorcycles or do what I do because it's a passion thing. So if gas was 30 cents a gallon, I wouldn't be inclined to buy a giant vehicle that got 1 mile per gallon. Motorcycling is a passion thing. So that's going to be sort of independent of the gas prices for most motorcyclists.
Is Steve cold or just tripping balls?
My basement is about 45 degrees.
So both.
No, it's just cold.
Okay.
And it's
basement in upstate New York.
And it's very sunny down there too.
My eyes
are all red.
Hey,
you know what? I work with UV all day, and I wear sunglasses all the time because my eyes I have pre-cataracts and all this other shit from working with ultraviolet radiation.
So that's UVC, right?
I don't know what the fuck it is. It's 254 nanometers.
Yeah.
It's UVC because you can see it.
I'm so sorry you're cold there.
Not cold, really, but I always wear a coat in the basement.
That was
Yes, it is here. Oh, oh, the sun! It's blinding.
Oh my God, Liza is literally.
I'm not going to cower under the bus.
Liza is chiming in from one of the moons of Endor.
You know what? My daughter sends me videos like that every fucking day, so I could take it.
I'll pay you $100 for an Ewok hide.
She almost came to see you too. She wanted
I know.
to Santa Cruz. She wanted to visit you, and you said that the place was your garage was closed, and it's too bad because she really, really wanted to meet you.
She could swing by.
Yeah, well, garage was closed, but I'm still working, so. Yeah, wasn't really much going on. And we are kind of still locked. I mean, people take lockdown seriously here. So seriously, did you hear about the people who decided to go surfing?
No.
Well, Shark had another thing to say about that.
Oh, get the fuck out of here.
We've had 2 shark attacks in the last month. Every time they close the beaches and then they finally go, okay, we'll let the surfers go in. This one a couple days ago got killed. So
wait a second. So
Mother Nature's like, fuck you.
So because there's no surfers or lack of surfers, it makes the few surfers that are out there more attractive to the sharks?
Yeah, well, the bears are in Yosemite. Like I hear that nature is just taking over, is coming right back. Well,
the sharks are really hungry right now.
Not enough people to scare them away.
That's it. There's nobody at the beach. They're all like, oh, we can go up to the beach now and eat these fish. And then there's a frickin' fish doing a hang 10. They're like,
you know what? That's funny. This seal tastes a lot like wetsuit.
Yeah. What did seals start wearing this rubber shit?
Killed everything. Fukushima's killed off the Pacific Ocean, so now there's only people to eat.
Oh my God, man! You know what?
I'm going to run a bottle rocket service where I go out in a boat and shoot bottle rockets in the water to keep the sharks away. How about that?
Yeah. I thought the deer and raccoons were getting aggressive in my backyard, but clearly it's nothing on the fucking sharks in Santa Cruz.
Have you been nibbled by a raccoon?
I would show.
No, but they set off my motion sensor lights all the time, and they drive the cats crazy. Yeah.
Wow.
Our raccoons now are the
Is
size.
that one right behind your head?
Yeah.
Liza, I have one exactly like that. No, the other way.
The toaster?
Hold on, I'm trying. Okay.
That one right above your head right now.
Right. Oh, yeah, the one with the little Art Deco windows?
Yeah.
Yeah. Her father, I think, has about 400 toasters. Yeah. That whole attic is nothing but toasters.
He's toasted.
Yeah.
He is
He
toasted.
did something.
Yeah.
Come back, help.
Yeah. It's one of those things that it makes you, he's a very well-balanced person despite clear mental illness.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you going to start collecting? I don't know. Blenders. No, toasters.
It's the only toaster I have.
Look at that. Oh, shit.
Hey, you do have it.
One of those.
I wouldn't shit you.
You're my favorite third.
I sure not.
Hey, nice.
Did you guys?
Hey, Smith's here.
Did you guys see AVE review the $500 Mitsubishi toaster?
I did.
That was quality entertainment right there.
It was quality entertainment.
Hi, Mrs. Smith. How are you this evening?
I am great. How are you guys?
She's real?
I am.
That's Mrs.
I'm
Smith.
kidding.
I mean, there's a good-looking picture from that window.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You're so much easier on the eyes than Chris is.
Then Chris is. You know what?
All right,
It's hard to look at Chris. You know?
No, he's my little cuddle bear.
He's pretty rad. We like Chris a lot. So
Good.
So, Phil, when are you coming out here again, and will you tell me before you do?
Well, I thought it'd be more fun. It was a surprise last time, and it turns out all I got was COVID.
And I was actually there for 2 weeks.
Liza know about that? Have you talked with her about that?
No, I haven't. No.
Oh, okay.
But it was probably that very weekend that I ended up getting exposed. So usually other people get exposed by me. So.
You really think you had COVID?
Well, the government thinks so. So I participated in a study by the Veterans Administration, and we've got, the good news is I don't have COVID. The better news, I guess, is I have antibodies. So I have antigens.
I'm going to blame the airport.
Yes, exactly. Right. It's probably the airport. That airport was a shit show. So
I mean, look at Santa Clara County.
yeah, that airport was a shit show. Despite, there were a lot of people at the zero training thing. There were a lot of people there from different countries and stuff. But you're right, that airport was a fucking gaggle fuck. So yeah.
And I haven't been tracking Ohio, but you guys are in Ohio. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know how bad it is in Cleveland, but we take the stand shelter, like it came down early. Mm-hmm. We've been following it. And here in Santa Cruz, we currently have, I think, 28 positive people. That's it.
Yeah. We have a lot of positive people. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't, but we are still in lockdown, taking it seriously. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that the population of the state of Ohio and the population of the county you live in are probably almost identical. So because California is an extremely populous state, and you happen to live in an extremely populous portion of California. So yeah, it's a really it's a weird thing for us. I would love, don't get me wrong, I would absolutely love to be in Santa Cruz right now, but that would mean getting on an airplane.
Yeah, and that's the point. Santa Clara County, where the airport is, 2,200 positive right now.
Right.
Santa Cruz, where I am, just right over the hill, 27 right now.
Right, exactly. So, yeah.
Ohio is
fucking banana slugs. It keeps it away.
How many states?
I was at 26,000 with 1,900 deaths.
The state or the county?
That's the whole state.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
You guys are way down there though for such a. California's doing really well.
Yeah, but that's all SoCal. And we don't talk to them.
Yeah, and Santa Cruz is a place where people will play by the rules, and if you're not wearing a mask, you'll probably get shamed pretty hard. So, what
county are you in?
Cuyahoga.
Oh, yeah, it's not looking good.
We don't report differently. So the state reports and then Cuyahoga County reports separately. So
you have 162 deaths. We've had two here.
A little different. Right?
Give it a couple weeks. We just reopened a bunch of shit. So let's see what happens in about 2 weeks.
Yeah, my buddy Eric was like, last week he was like, this is fucking bullshit. The COVID's nothing. I only got 10 patients in the COVID ward, Right. He's like, they're not even giving out overtime anymore. And, now I'm getting a text message from him. COVID's fucking kicking my ass. We got a fucking bunch of people. And then I texted back at him. I texted back at him the same thing he said to me. He's like, well, we got to get the economy started. And he's like, fuck yeah, we do. I need the overtime.
Where's that at?
Cleveland. Here.
We got a little bit of a competition going here. We're keeping score. So it's COVID 2, Shark 1.
Shark 1. We need some fucking sharks.
Shark wear a mask.
I don't know. Get freshwater sharks in Lake Erie.
I think, dude, we better start counting something else like accidental gunfire or something because we don't have any sharks. So.
How about sharks?
What about murder hornets?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, murder hornets. Yeah.
We don't have sharks. We don't have any insects that can kill you. We just have each other, and that's all the challenge we need. Yeah. That's it. The most dangerous thing in Cleveland is apparently Clevelanders.
Yeah, the insiders.
This might get us demonetized.
Phil,
Look at that stinger.
That's a healthy stinger.
hey, I hate to do this to you, but I just got a message from my parents. They hit a button on the TV and can't figure out how to get the volume back on. So I gotta go. I get these. This is my life now.
We're going to wrap this up, guys. I think that's all the podcast we can handle. Unless anyone else has any breaking news, Mrs. Smith.
Well, I think it's good that you have antibodies there, Phil. That's a good thing.
I got uncle bodies and antibodies.
There you go. Well, perfect.
So, you guys, I think we should all ride fast and take chances. Play us out, Johnny McElfresh.
Oh, I hate it.
Perfect.